PUBG Mobile players and fans. We've been hard at work continuously improving and polishing our game, and at long last, the official Livik map is ready to be played. In the official release version of Livik, we've retained the beta version's fast-paced combat while also revamping the major urban areas. At the same time, we've added a new vehicle and new interactables to the map for everyone to enjoy. New urban areas. In the official version of Livik, we've substantially improved the look of many areas and revamped layouts for a total upgrade. This is all to give everyone a fresh combat experience. Mid-Steam. First off, let's introduce Mid-Steam. The gateway with the name of the area and the main street in the city are the new landmarks. With buildings of different heights, this area will give players plenty to think about when strategizing. Take the high ground advantage or battle in close quarters. Anything is possible. Blomster. In the new Blomster, the wide streets divide the city into many areas. This means that whoever gains a better view of the city gains an advantage in battle. Your opponents would not want to attack you from the streets. And don't forget to check out the soccer field. We prepared a surprise reward for our players in this newly added area. Logistics Center. The lumber yard was changed to the Logistics Center. In a large open area, piled up shipping containers create a huge amount of cover. They're great for flexible strategies, but you must stay vigilant, as there may also be enemies around every corner. Get ready for close quarter combat. Iceborne. On a snow-covered hill, a castle stands. There are a lot of buildings with varying heights in Iceborne, with a white church in the center. If you want to take advantage of the terrain here, why not try to attack from behind? But keep an eye out for enemies that are doing the same thing, because once you expose yourself, you'll be at the mercy of enemy fire from above. New vehicle. In the official version of Livik, players will be able to find an all-new, all-terrain UTV. It has a compact frame, holds 4 passengers, and is great for traversal. Whether it's rugged mountainous terrain or narrow streets, the UTV handles them with ease. It could be your ticket to the final circle. Advanced Supply Zone. Want to stockpile combat supplies as soon as the match starts? No worries. In the official version of Livik, an Advanced Supply Zone will spawn randomly on the map. There are more resources than usual in this zone, but that also means more competition. If you're confident in your shooting skills, then give this place a try. Good luck! New interactive gameplay. In the official version of Livik, we added lots of interactables. They help make the official map more interesting, give more resources to players, and expand their options during a match. Wild berries. When you're out in rural areas of Livik, look around carefully, and you might just find some wild berries. Eat them to help you with survival, so that you can stay fresh for battles just around the corner. Soccer Challenge. There's a new soccer field in Blomster, but that's no ordinary field. Try to score a goal and see what happens. Excellent rewards await you. Storehouse. Breaking news. A batch of weapons has been delivered to Livik, and they're hidden in the aqueduct. Destroy the wall with firearms or explosives to hoard the hidden arsenal for yourself. High-flying vehicles. When you find crates in hard-to-reach places, try looking around. This is a challenge for players that live in the fast lane. Find a nearby motorcycle and ramp to reach those crates and get the rewards prepared for daredevils. Zipline. Ziplines will be added to the official version of Livik, giving players a way to move quickly from 2 fixed points. It will help you escape from enemies or the blue zone when in a pinch. Random supplies and treasure maps. In the official version of Livik, equipment and item crates will spawn randomly, giving you more ways to get items. Also pay attention to the treasure maps on the map because they help you locate supply crates nearby, so that you can get to them quickly. In the official version of Livik in Ranked Classic mode, we will bring back the recall event for a limited time. Getting defeated no longer means the end. Every player can be recalled once. When a recall is still available, players will be able to recall teammates for a period of time after they are defeated. We also added new quick chat voices so teammates can communicate better when recalling. As for players that are being recalled, we've also improved their vision when returning to the battleground so that they can better rejoin the battle immediately after landing. Other content. In addition to the changes above, the volcano that has been dormant for years in Livik has become active. Please be cautious when it erupts and stay away from the spewing lava. That's it for the official version of Livik. We hope you like it. If you want to know more, don't forget to follow our official community. We look forward to seeing you in the official version of Livik. Happy gaming!
everybody, and welcome to day 2 here of the 2022 Livik Community Cup. I'm your host, Hot Jukes. I hope you guys are so stoked for this as much as I am because, number one, of course, thank you to PUBG Mobile for putting this on and allowing me to host it because I can't remember the last time we saw a solos tournament. Well, this is only part of it, right? But solos and a prize pool this thick. So I am stoked. I know you guys are. Show some love in the chat. And you know what? Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right on into it. Rich, roll the video. So this is how it's going to go down here today. Yesterday was day 1 of the open qualifiers where we had over 1,000 people battle it out. And it was top 208 of that massive group that earned the privilege to compete here today in day 2. Another day of solos matches where those 208 competitors are going to be split up into 4 groups of 52. And here in the Livik Community Cup, it's all about eliminations. That's right. Each elimination is going to add 5 points to their total score. And they're going to have to frag out of their minds because only the top half of these players are going to be moving on to the next round. Set your alarms because that next round starts tomorrow where those top 104 players will be paired up with each other and compete in a duos match. So solos to duos. And they better get friendly real quick because only the top 12 duos teams, as well as 1 wildcard duo, see it right there at the bottom, are going to be moving on to the finals Monday, May 23rd. Qualifying duos are going to be paired up with some of y'all's favorite content creators, some of the best in the biz, and they're going to battle it out as a full squad where only 1 team will be crowned as the 2022 Livik Community Cup champion. And they're going to be taking home that thickest cut of a $50,000 prize pool. That's right, first place walking away with 20 grand, second, 10, third, 5, and if you're lucky enough to get 14th, you get nothing. So, yeah, better get top 13. That's where all the money really is. Let's go ahead and bring it on back here. Man, I'm telling you, I hope you guys are as stoked as I am, and I know 2 people are definitely ready to go. 2 of the legends in the business. Our casters here, of course, it's Goge and Katie Bedford. How are y'all guys doing? I'm gonna start off with you, Katie.
I am wonderful. I feel kind of bad for whoever gets 14th. You called him out a little bit there. But hey, that's how it goes, right? You got to get into that top 13 if you want a piece of the prize. But no, I can't wait. I think today is going to be so much fun.
I've said it before, right? There's one thing you can't teach, and that's clutch, right? So someone's going to earn their clutch badge today here, Goge. What are you expecting to see?
Look, I couldn't be more excited to be here, but I'm expecting to see maximum carnage, right? The format that we have today incentivizes eliminations over anything else, and so you've got to go pick up those eliminations in order to secure that maximum amount of points needed to really move on and have a chance to win some of that money, right? Like, you got to get through today, you got to get through tomorrow to even have a shot to play for the money on Monday. It's going to be awesome.
Man, and remember, everybody that's watching, it's day 2. That's right, we're at day 2. So here are some of the highlights here of day number 1. Dude, we had over 1,000 people entering this. I'm so glad that I wasn't running the league ops for that. Can you imagine, right? All those players? That's insane, Goge.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, it's really cool to see the community come together and have a shot to win money, of course, but also just have a shot to have a lot of fun competing against each other. So many different lobbies, so many different ways to earn your way into the ability to play today at all. And 208 of those 1,000 plus have made it. And I'm expecting to see them kind of play maybe some different strategies depending on the strength of the lobbies. You know, those 208 all slayed out first day, so I can only imagine they're going to come ready to go today.
Yeah, and speaking of strategies, right, Katie, like, this is a solos day, so it's a lot different than a squad. There's no getting knocked, right? You're just gone back to the lobby. So what do you think is going to happen, here in this one? What are the strats we're going to see?
Well, you're going to have to be able to balance kind of on that edge, right? Where you have to get those eliminations because that is what is most important here. But as you said, you don't have those teammates to rely on. You don't have those second chances. So you have to have the good rotation. You have to have the good positioning. Be aware of who's around you and maybe play those third-party situations. And I have to imagine, considering we had over 1,000 people trying to get to this point, now that we're at that 208, these are the players who are going to be able to excel at, again, getting the eliminations, but also managing to keep them alive because, well, they have no one to rely on except themselves.
That's right, man. I tell you what, this first game is going to be intense because, again, this is a community tournament. That's what's so awesome about it. I don't really get to chat on that because, yeah, the pro players, they got their own thing, but this is some of just us regular folks just going at it here. So they're going to have to, you know, calm down them nerves. And I know we got some of them gyroscope players, so I can only imagine how them hands are going to be shaking, right, Coach?
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. I can only imagine, like you're one of the people that just plays after work or plays when they get a chance after school, and now you have a shot to win a piece of $50,000. Like, the nerves are at an all-time high, and like Katie said, solos is going to be so interesting to watch, and I'm excited to see who's able to maybe play the smart rotations, play a little camping when they need to, but then get a move on, because first place, it's only 10 points, right? That's 2 eliminations. You get 3. That's more than just getting that chicken dinner even affords you.
Man, I'll tell you what, for all those people who are watching, I know there's some, they're like, dang, how did I miss this? Because you weren't following. Make sure you go ahead and make sure you follow all the official channels. Look, these are the qualified players that we had here. Why don't we have, yeah, Coach, Katie, go ahead. Just start listing them off. Go.
God, there's so many. We got Shark, we've got Kermit, we got Blade.
Chowder. Sweaty Hall.
We gotta just pick a few. Yeah, we gotta pick a few.
I know there's a Brad in here. I know, Coach, there's a Brad somewhere on the right side of this, and that's my guy. There he is, Brad.
I like Fallen Moon. That's a great name. We've got EG Noobs. That's a perfect name. Maybe they'll come out and just show these noobs how to play. Just straight up anime. I mean, they've got probably a pretty good shot, right? Everybody loves anime.
You got to be confident when you just have a short name like that, just anime or just like a Brad.
Yeah, just a good old Brad. And you know what? We'll see if maybe Brad can get some points here. And look, this, you know, placement points are going to count a little bit, right? First place is going to give you 10 points. So placement points that's basically 2 elims. But, I mean, it's got to be elims here, right? That's going to be the only way to really put a point. Is that right, Coach?
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about before. You can see the points scale down, so you do achieve some of those placement points if you get inside the top 10, which is a feat in its own right? We have 52 people dropping into the lobby, but if you pick up 3 eliminations and the person that wins the map only picks up 1, you've scored the same amount of points. So there's a bit of this, like, onus or responsibility to play a little bit more high risk, high reward. You only have 3 maps. You can't really hide anywhere. You got to get a move on. You got to get a move on quick.
That's right. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question here. That's kind of a little bit out of left field. What do you think, right, is going to be that minimum point amount we're going to see, right, to be able to move on tomorrow, right? I want to hear some guesses. Katie, what are you thinking?
Ooh, that is a great question. In my experience, usually in a situation like this, it's going to be something to the effect of you're going to at least maybe need to try and get into double-digit kills. You add that in, obviously, we know it's about those 5 points per kill. But I think if you're going to be someone who, even in one map, if you can get to double-digit kills, maybe 10, 11, you're going to be in a very, very good position to move on. Now, that's a hard thing to do because, yes, that's 10, maybe in a regular match possible. But when there's only 52 players here who have already qualified, it'll be tricky, but I think you got to get to that double-digit amount.
Yeah,
I'm pumping the numbers.
I like it. I think our game's getting ready, so I think we're going to be able to tell you what you need to score. But look, Hot Jukes, if you were playing, I know you could drop double-digit elims in the first map. This is really going to set the pace, and I think Katie is right. Like, this first map, if somebody drops double digits, they've set themselves up for success, and their overall average will probably carry them forward. So, Katie, we're into the gameplay. Let's see what happens. Look, it's Livik. It's the official Livik map. Things have changed. There's exciting new features on the map, and only time will tell who can take advantage of them in the maximum degree.
Livik 2.0, and you can see the spread of players across the map as they're getting their feet on the ground. And I can't wait to cast it, not only because it is this Livik 2.0 map, we get to see these community members fighting for a portion of that $50,000, but scenic upgrades. Everything looks so beautiful, Goj, and maybe we'll get a tour from some of these players here, like Mr. Chris Bacon. Let's, hanging out, enjoying the beautiful new wallpaper.
Crispy Bacon, I think, was the full name there. That's perfect. I love it. The community names are going to be a lot of fun to work with because, again, we don't know every single one of these players because they just come in from all over the place and qualified. It's a chance for them to prove that they're, willing and able to win $50,000 or a portion of it. So you can see some action starting out fairly quickly. A quick kill from behind. There's multiple people in this location. And something that we'll see today, Katie, is I know some of the hot drops with the original Livik map was, you had Midstein, you had Power Plant, but with all of the new features they've added, the zip lines, the new vehicle, different ways to get around the map quickly, you saw those players separate dramatically all over to the edges of the map, and then they'll all be creeping their way in as the circles close. It's the people like this that can grab early kills. They can slow their way down in that mid game, and we'll be able to watch them make some strategic rotations and then pick up some kills in end game. It's kind of these two action points. You've got the early game and the end game. That middle game, you want to use that for rotations, and we'll see where these circles close to. You can see Sweaty is in a building across the street, and that's something else about Livik 2 as well. Our official Livik map is Wade just drops one without even a bullet fired back. Great elimination. But I was gonna say, something they added is a lot more open sight lines. It kind of increases the aggressiveness, the ability to be aggressive with the open sight lines. If you camp inside of a building, sure, you can see far, but your rotation is going to be difficult, because so you can't just hang out in a building for 10 minutes throughout this entire map, especially when you have 50 some odd other players trying to hunt you down. I suppose 43 now currently on the map.
Well, yeah, and take a look at Verify. This is that verticality you're going to have to be aware of as well. When you have open areas like this, you have to be mindful not only of who is in front of you at your level, whether it's ground level or elsewhere, but the people who might be looking down on you. Because again, as Hot Juke said, right, you don't get a second chance. You're not going to get down. You're just dead, because this is in solos. And a lot of these players might be playing a little carefully, but that's why you got to check your corners. Be aware of all the locations you can get pushed from, and that's Anime. We called Anime out before map 1 started. That'll be Anime with the first kill on the board. Remember, every single elimination, that is going to be 5 points. And well, yes, you want to couple that with a first place, but it's all about the eliminations all day long, Goj. And for sweet Anime, that's 5 points on the board.
Look, I am 100% on predictions throughout my life cycle as a caster, and I'm trying to keep up that streak. So Anime, I know for a fact they're going to qualify today and get into day number 3 of the Livik Community Cup. We've got Raid. Raid's playing these buildings and these angles well, and Katie, it's something to note, right? In PUBG Mobile, like if you get shot at first and you can't recover because you don't have any cover near you, to be honest with you, it's very difficult to win those gunfights, especially when you start playing against some of these more high-skilled players. And yes, these are community members. Yes, these aren't pro players, but they did go through qualifiers, and these are the top 208 out of over 1,000+ players. So they have to be at least somewhat talented, and we've already seen a bit of that talent on Showcase right now.
Yeah, and you can tell, I think these players may be aware that there's other competitors in the general location. A few of them, as you can see in that top right under the minimap, already with maybe one elim, a few elims under their belt. But you talked about it earlier, and I think it was a really good point of that high risk, high reward strategy of, do you want to go for the early eliminations at the initial drop, and then, as you said, use that mid portion of a map as your rotation, and then push to capitalize on those early eliminations with the 10 points you get for a first place. I think you're also going to see some of these players taking maybe more of a, portion of the map by portion of the map approach. So you will maybe try and find an elimination or two if you can early on, but they want to pace themselves throughout. And in that mid portion, instead of worrying more about the rotation, trying to perhaps third party some of these players who are going at each other.
Exactly, and we got a chance to look at the brand new Midstein. It is a beautiful location. If you are at home and you're not competing in the Livik Community Cup, you should go check out this new official Livik map, because Midstein is amazing. But it's also got those long sight lines. You got to be careful as you're kind of rotating around into the new buildings. A lot of different angles you can get shot from, so use that verticality to your advantage. And no, Katie, you're exactly right. When we talk about the way you rotate around a map, when you talk about the way that you rotate around this map in particular, there is a lot of open space. And I was in the YouTube chat before we got started today, and there was a couple of our competitors in there as well, and I was asking them just a couple of questions about their strategy from yesterday, as well as their strategy for today. And one of the things that they said is, like, if you play too aggressive in the mid game, you can kind of get cut out in the open with third parties. It's solos, right? And so if you start really just throwing your weight around with your weapons and you're taking shots early, you're kind of shooting that signal flare of like, hey, I'm over here. And if you fall early in this lobby, you may only pick up 2 or 3 kills. Whereas if you can maybe get some early action in Midstein and then rotate out and really play smart in the mid game, you'll find the kills will come your way in the end game. It'll get chaotic. I know that for a fact. We're gonna get right back into the gameplay in just a second, but with some of the action that we were able to see at the very beginning, Katie, I know we were getting that mid-Steam preview. I know there's some other interesting things that Livik 2.0, or the official Livik map, as it's now called, brings to the table. And one of those things is mobility. I want to see some zip lines, right? Those things fly, and you could rotate around the map quickly. And I'm sure people will be using that if they are playing those kind of edge POIs.
Well, those zip lines can be so pivotal as well for adjusting. If you're approaching a third-party situation where maybe you think that you can sneak in an elimination, maybe someone just got an elimination and you know that they are trying to reset after that fight, use that zip line to close the distance, that gap, as quickly as you can, and then convert that player into elimination of your own. Because as we have said, we will continue to say, all it takes is 2 elims, and you have as many points as you're going to get from taking first place in the map overall. You know what I want to see too? I know we're gonna have a couple volcanic eruptions. I don't know if they're gonna factor in to what's happening here in the map, but Coach, it could be a real possibility. Who knows? You might be going in to get that elimination and suddenly you have lava on top of your head.
No, exactly. Look, you guys probably don't know Katie like I do. Katie loves to watch people go down in weird ways. Volcano would probably be top of the list here in PUBG
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
So looks like a few fights actually happening. Techno seems to be in a pretty good location, DP in hand. And if you take a look at the bottom middle, just between our two cameras, you can also see the different resources that these characters have, or these players have to their advantage. Resource management will be something we'll be talking about all day today. But Techno, Curiosity and Techno in a bit of an encounter, a few pre-fire shots around the corner, taking their time and then taking an aggressive stance, goes in with the P90, takes out their opponent in a matter of a millisecond. And I gotta say, Curiosity didn't even take a single bullet to secure that elimination. That is their first.
Curiosity played that really well. There was the initial frag entry to potentially put some damage in up top, pushes up the staircase, and that player at Techno didn't seem like they really were comfortable engaging. They were just hoping that they could maybe stick into that corner and you know that player would push away from them. That was not the case. Some pre-fire comes out, you already have that ADS prepared, and all you have to do is keep shooting through that doorway. You have assessed where that player is, so some nice shots, especially that crouch, give you a little bit of a verticality difference when those players are aiming in, converts it into a kill and an elimination. So very nice one there. And then we can see from TBE Max, well, 2 eliminations. We've seen a lot of these players hovering around that 1-2 point, and I'm curious to know the overall elim leaders right now, as we have 33 remaining in the map. You can see getting pushed in and funneled into each other, and that's going to be such an important aspect of this as well, Coach, is when you have the storm at your back, you have to be mindful of who might be in front of you, and well, in this case, you got to be careful about who's behind you. Elimination number 2 coming in for Beat.
I was talking to Jay again in YouTube chat, and there's going to be some other people saying a lot of the same. Third parties are crucial to your success here in PUBG Mobile, especially in Livik with these open spaces. DP coming in handy for Max here. It's his first elimination, and I don't know. This has been pretty hot thus far. I mean, I was talking to Powerbang too before we got started, and he was just like, look, I got to change the stream, Livik, and it's kind of just nonstop action, right? There's certainly less players than the larger maps, but the map's smaller. And yeah, it closes you in on your opponents quickly, and when you only have 3 games to rack up points, I mean, you got to get involved, and you got to get involved fairly quickly. I did see some people in chat saying that the zone, the blue zone, might be taking some lives today, and especially when there's nerves on the line and you're in some of these outer edge encounters, got to be careful. It doesn't start really ticking away at your health until the latter half of the map, but once you get to that half, it'll start chunking you away quickly. You better have some meds on hand.
Well, you don't want to be held by someone either who's waiting for stragglers who maybe don't have the opportunity. They get caught out in an open area, which again is going to be equally punishing, if not more punishing, when you don't have those duos, maybe those quad teams to help you get back up on your feet. But, well, it's your favorite player in a showdown, Anime, trying to get another elimination. This would be a big one, and Anime gets it. The second elimination, and a nice one at that. I think played that situation fairly well, was able to chunk away a large amount of health before going in for the final bullets to convert it into an elimination. But now, as always, you have to be careful because, as we've been saying, and we will continue to say, the third parties, people will be aware on the map of if you are in a fight. So we'll see if Anime can get out of it alive. But now, We go over to J-Star and 2 eliminations here. I wonder who the Elim leader is so far. We might very well see one here, as there are 5 players in these buildings and none of them may be really hesitant to leave except for Rewind. We'll see if Rewind gets punished for it.
Midstein is a hot drop. Some of these players, I think Starfan's been here since the very beginning of the map, and now on the edge of zone can hold some of these players. You can see an encounter happening. Rewind and Starfan, they hear the footsteps. They're locked in. They're ready to go. Star's got one, but getting shot from the right side through the window. Verify, unbelievable
Verify
elimination.
stole that kill.
Oh yeah, that was a robbery at its finest. You can see Icons not having any of it's going to rotate through that storm, and like the blue zone doesn't hurt quite that bad yet. The third circle, once we get into the 4th and 5th circle, it'll start chunking you away quickly, so be careful. Make sure your resource management is on point. You can see Satsui up in the top left hand corner here of Midstein, and Verify on the right. Rewind and Raid are both kind of being pinched at this point. I'll be curious to see who comes out of this successful.
This is risky. You don't want to wait in the blue zone for too long because you could very well get held, but no one really wants to leave the safe area, the nest they've created in these houses. And well, if you Rewind, high risk of running straight into Verify, and that is what happens. Initial shots come through, chunking away at some of that health. We'll see if Rewind could get out alive. But as we look at this overall score, a lot of these players still in that 1 to 2. We've seen a few 3 eliminations. And that is going to be big, though, too, because if you somehow get to that double-digit elim in even one of these maps, it could very well qualify you within the top 26 of your group to get into the next 8, which is Duos and Satsui. Well, those 3 eliminations certainly going to go a long way in getting to that point, as we see BRG as well. A lot of these players, I wonder if anyone has more than 3. It feels like everyone we've taken a look at as we get into the final 20 players of map 1 here, sitting all around that 3 elim mark for some of the top contenders.
Looked like Rewind is coming out of Midstein mostly successful, having picked up a couple of those kills. And Anime back on your screen again. My favorite player, my player choice today, in a bit of trouble. Lost about half health, peeking through the window, finds another angle, is able to get the elimination on Kesman. Anime is going in, and honestly, just perfectly executed, route around the building. You're able to use the windows to your advantage. You're able to use the cover to your advantage. But when you're in those close range encounters, no matter what weapon you're using, it's really not worth ADSing. You want to use that hip fire mechanic that is also special at close range. Most of those bullets connected for Anime, and they do come out on top. Like, I might be a prophet, I don't know. We'll see if Anime can continue to find some success. But Rewind cleared out mid-scene. Zone starting to chunk away. Is going to head down to the next circle, and you see most of the players have made it there thus far. A few people kind of hugging that edge, Katie, but I think this is kind of the moment, right? We can look at the top left-hand corner of our screen. There's 14 players remaining, 14 solos left on this map already. The top 10 will walk away with some minor placement points. So these are the moments where you need to get to zone and set yourself up for success in that final circle.
Oh, and that hurts. You saw the 14 there, and that 14th elimination was Rewind, who we were just watching. I think Rewind might have had those 4 eliminations as well. So not bad when you have multiple maps here. Obviously, you'd like the placement along with the eliminations, but that is certainly tough to see Rewind go down like that. But Anime, our savior Anime, fighting for its life, legal, will get a 4th elimination here. And now still a few of these. Just like that, I feel like we blinked. We had 20 people left in the map, and now down to our top 12. And a lot of them at these 4 final eliminations. And you have to be careful if you're legal. You know that this is exactly why Curiosity has the high ground. You have the blue zone at your back. There's not anywhere to go, and the shots will come in. 5 eliminations for Curiosity. That is a great amount to have here, as we're now into single digits. Only 9 players left.
Yeah, that's what 2 eliminations here at Curiosity. Once you get up to 5 eliminations, that's a total of 20 points on top of the placement points that you're starting to chip away on. Now, some of our maybe highly aggressive players have been eliminated, but those 3, 4, 5 kills, I mean, that's going to set you up for success for this entire tournament. Because again, to qualify, you've got to be in the top half. So some of these players probably fell very early in the map with only 1 elimination or 0, a goose egg first round, and they're going to have to come back stronger in the next one. We can see Flame has has a better position than Anime. Can they execute one of the leading players in the first map? And it looks like they're able to find the shots. Loses a bit of health,
Not Anime.
Anime goes down. Flame's gonna grab the better of it. And these are the two contrasting strategies. Anime was playing that high risk, high reward, found plenty of eliminations early, but Flame was going for the slow in the late game only. That is Flame's first elimination, but they are inside the circle and had the better position going into that fight. And so we'll see if Flame can continue to find some success against Daddy on the far side around the rock. We're down to the final 5 players. Katie, it looks like this could be a huge third-party opportunity. Well, maybe not, because a well-placed grenade will take them out in one shot. Incredible thrown grenade from that player, and we're just like that, we're down to 4 and maybe make it 3. You see the cover here. Nexus has got a great spot as well, going prone to try to grab a little bit more cover, as well as that extra recoil control. Arthur on the right, about half health. This is where it is nice to be inside the circle, but I mean, they're fairly open right now. All it takes is a third party from behind, and Nexus is going to go down.
Yeah, Nexus, you are essentially dead center, surrounded by the remaining players in this map. The good news for them, though, is the majority of these eliminations you can see, again, roughly in that 4 to 6 elimination mark. You've done your job in this first map of 3 if you're trying to get within that top 26 to move on to day 3 of the 2022 Livik Community Cup. But you also want the glory of that chicken dinner. You want to say that you struck first in map 1, and well, we'll see with the 4 remaining players. And it looks like Arthur pushing up Nexus might get the better if Nexus is paying attention. And as the shots come in, Arthur in a bit of a tricky position, barely any health, but as we said, Nexus wasn't safe either, fairly exposed, getting some of that health back with the blue zone right behind them, funneling these players ever closer to the remaining 4 on the map. And that'll be Arthur taking down Nexus. Another elimination, just 3 players left.
Great shots from Smokey the Beard. Look, if anybody's got a Beard in their name, I stand with you. We'll see if Beard can maybe take this one home. Down to 3. Smokey on the left, Arthur on the right. On your screen, excuse me, Arthur on the screen right now. And you can see Daddy on the far right side. All have their own cover, but Daddy, AL, he is low on the right, is able to find some cover for at least but a moment, as long as the Molotov doesn't hit. And so far, so good. The question is, where is the zone pull? This is the bit of RNG that we love about Battle Royales, Katie, right? Wherever the zone goes, that dictates the way you rotate. When you have things like smokes, you have things like grenades to zone off your opponents. It's a great way to be able to rotate to the next position and then win the game. Get that all too elusive chicken dinner. Again, 3 players left. Plenty of meds for Al. And the question is, where do you go from here? Do you play a little bit through the zone and around these corners and continue to find cover, or do you play the aggressor? You really don't want to be the entry person on this one.
No.
You'd like to be the third partier.
And I think that's exactly what I was trying to do, was hoping that you could get Smoke and Arthur to funnel into one another and then just swoop in as that final third party, eliminate that player, and get that chicken dinner win. But, well, all the action comes down to this. And, well, Daddy gets the kill onto Arthur, and the final trade comes in. The eliminations are here. The chicken dinner is handed out. Map 1 is done and dusted, Goj. And, well, third party, I don't even think anyone necessarily had the ability to really make that sneaky play at the end. You were all just funneled into the open, and whoever shoots first wins.
Yeah, that's the variability of the in circle, right? Like, you're going to see 3 different in circles with 3 different types of cover allowed inside of those circles. And that final circle in map number 1 was fairly restricted on the places that you could hide. It was really the 3 positions that each of those players had been able to acquire. And then once the zone started moving, it was a free-for-all, and it was who struck first. And 2 players looked at each other. The third was all by their lonesome and said, yeah, I'll just clean this one up. No problem at all. So congratulations to Al on your early success. And honestly, Katie, nobody got to double-digit lives, which would have been fairly difficult, but
got close.
It was fairly spread out. It was fairly even across the board. Some of our early aggressors certainly picked up a few eliminations, but overall, pretty solid. Map number 1 setting the pace for the next 2 maps for Group A.
And a lot of these players, if they can even maybe do something remotely like this success back to back, again, when you only have 3 maps to try and qualify for day 3, they've done their job. They will be able to move on. What you want to avoid, of course, is getting a dud when it comes to map 2. Last thing you want to do is land early, maybe a bit of a hot drop, get caught out when you don't expect it, and when you don't have teammates to back you up, suddenly you're scrambling in that map 3. But a really solid performance from these players in the opening map, and I'm going to say it, if they were nervous, it certainly didn't show.
Yeah, we couldn't see it from the back end at the very least. But let's bring in our host, Hot Jukes. Hot Jukes, how'd you feel about that map? It was pretty spicy.
Woo, spicy indeed, dude. That's what I was talking about. It was good to see Smokey the Beard, my man, dude, an OG in the community there towards the end, man. It's different. It's different watching solos versus, you know, seeing an entire squad go at it. I mean, we saw a lot of snake play there towards the end. And you said third parties. I know this is a community tournament, and I'm not surprised we didn't see any, because I mean I saw a lot of, you know, hands shaking during that gameplay, but we still saw some good elims and some good work get done there, Katie.
Yeah, we certainly did, especially that positioning, the way Al played. I think that final circle as well to capitalize on those eliminations was done very well. But all three of them to get within that top three, I think they did a great job in that opening map. So congratulations to all of them, Arthur, as well as Al and everyone else. I think doing a good job of showing us a top-tier community gameplay early on.
Yeah, that's right.
I wanted to hop in here too, Jukes, and talk about again that final circle, because there is a contrasting type of gameplay from some of the players. We saw Anime go really hard with that high risk, high reward type playstyle. Found some early eliminations that set them up for success, but couldn't quite carry it all the way to the finish line. And the question is, will that ever come back to bite them? And then you had some of the players in that final circle. You had Smokey the Beard, one of the OGs of the community, say, "I'm playing smart. I'm playing for the end game. I'm picking up my placement points, and I'll find the eliminations in that in circle." And both strategies work, and the question is, how many points can you pick up each given map? You only got 3.
It's true. That's true. That's going to be the big question, period, because literally, I mean, all these players are going to have is 3 matches each, right? We're going to have 6 matches here total today, but, you know, these different groups, they're only going to have 3 goes at it. So what I love about this is that even if you have, you know, some of these players go out early, all they have to do is pick up, you know, a good chunk of elims here in the next 2 matches for them, and they can still easily qualify. But, you know, for the teams and, you know, for the players that actually finished there pretty good on that first one, I mean, who knows? They could be already in. They could already be in, but I would not, I wouldn't count on it. You know, I wouldn't count on it. Definitely got to put a little bit more work, in my opinion, Katie.
Yeah, don't count your chicken dinners until they're in front of you and you've earned them yourself. But the elimination so far back and forth, I think all these players playing really well. I'm excited to see what they can do moving forward. But also, again, the POI updates we've seen, I think just looking at Livik 2.0 as a whole, it looked great to watch.
It did. It did. And I'll tell you what, it's great to watch, but it is a lot harder to play. I can only imagine how these guys are feeling going into this one. I mean, just to think going on that zip line and risking it. Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah, I mean, even getting in those new vehicles. I mean, no door on the side. Yeah. They got to be careful. So, I mean, these guys have to pop off no matter what. There's still so much on the line, a lot left to be played here, and I think anything can happen here, Coach.
I couldn't agree more. Some of the features, we got to see a little bit of the new features. We saw that UTV pop in and out of there. You're right, doesn't have a lot of cover, can traverse the map fairly well. I'd love to see somebody hit up those supply shops and maybe grab their XT upgrades or just buy some weapons early if they do so. And then one of the things we didn't even get a chance to see in that map was those brand new high golden circled rich loot areas. I mean, there's a ton of loot in that area, and you can find a ton of gold coins in order to spend that in the shops. You can pick up an M4, you can pick up a sniper, you can pick up your XT upgrades, you can pick up meds. I mean, you can pick up everything in those supply shops. So again, take a look at those later, but we're gonna hop over here, Hot Jokes, to the format again to showcase how many points that are able to be grabbed via these eliminations and placement points.
Yeah, I mean, those elims are going to be where it all counts. I mean, I think I saw Smokey the Beard towards the end. He had 2, right? So that's 10 points by himself. That's really what's going to take. That's what's going to take here. First place getting 10 is great, but at the same time, I mean, if we just have one player just get in the right position, catch people at the right time, I mean, it shouldn't be too difficult to pick up, you know, a nice little 4 elims, you know? That's 20 points. That's 20 points right there, Katie.
Yeah, it's 20 points, and when you have to just be within that top 50%, you have to be in the top 26. It's a very doable thing to achieve. You don't have to go and slay out and get a bajillion eliminations on top of that first place. Now, if you do, we're going to talk about it. We're going to be very impressed, but you just got to be in the top 26. So I think a lot of these players well on their way to achieving that goal and getting into the duo gameplay that we'll see tomorrow. But no, Jukes, I think a lot of these players, they kind of have those early strategies down, but I agree. If we can see maybe more of the UTV play, high risk, high reward there. You got to be careful you don't get shot in the side, but as well as, who knows, maybe someone's going to go on a treasure hunt here with some of the treasure maps around.
Well, you know, speaking of treasure, right? Let's take a look here at the scoreboard so far. So this is how Group A did. And you can see here, it's Arthur G. 28 points in the first match here, Coach.
It's impressive.
Wow.
I mean, that's the metric, right? They just set the pace. Now, it isn't as top-heavy as I thought it could be, right? It's fairly evenly spread across the board because, again, you got to remember Arthur was in that final 3. You know, Al was in that final 3. Smokey the Beard was in the final 3. So we see the 3 players that found their way to the top 3 with the top 3 placement points also had the top amount of points. So you can see how valuable they can be. But then you see somebody like Anime who fell fairly early in this map, who picked up a decent number of eliminations and still inside the top 5, and we go all the way down to 26th place, 0 points. Like, you just got to be above 0 to qualify at this point, Jukes, and that's what I'm excited to see, is who's going to be that kind of that relegation spot, right 1 point away.
That's right. Well, we're going to find out who is going to get those points here, because I can hear the lobby. I can hear the footsteps. Boom! Game number 2 is ready. Coach, Katie, take it away.
Woo, Katie, this is going to be a lot of fun. We'll see who's learned from their mistakes in map number 1 and maybe who can execute a back-to-back win, maybe if you're at the top of that leaderboard for Beard and Allie and otherwise. But regardless, looks like it's a fairly even spread across the map. I see 1 or 2 people dropping power play. And again, I know that was a fairly spicy drop back in the day. And looking at this play in line, you can see Midstein is a fairly decent drop. And one of my favorite spots is the port in the shipyard. Those zip lines are interconnected all the way across the water, and be curious to see if anybody uses that to their advantage jumping into it. But Katie, take it away. Look at on the artist right now. It's Starfan again. We saw Starfan have a fairly decent early start and then fall about midway through the map. We'll see what they're able to do this time.
Curiosity, gotta be careful, does get some of those pre-fire hits in, but Fan right on him, and well, you might strike first, but it doesn't mean you're getting the elimination. And we also see Crispy Bacon on the board with an elimination as well early on. A solid start to map 2. And what we saw, right, is when you need to get into the top 26, Goj, and 26th has 0 points, you get 1 elimination and you are already doing great.
Exactly. Map number 1 set the pace, and so you know, okay, I need to maybe try to grab 1 elimination a game at the very least to make sure I'm top half. And so when you start thinking about averages and maybe you drop to 0 in map 1, let's drop 2. That's going to be our metric today. Drop 2 kills, get to 10 points. That'll set you up for some success, some early success here for Beta taking down, oh, not quite, almost taking down Apollo on the other side. I don't think they were able to, at least not immediately. Finally finds the success. You can see it coming through the kill feed. That was a close one. Got a bit
maybe
sketchy
getting a little
there
riskier than they were hoping for.
Definitely, but I love these types of plays you can make on PUBG Mobile 2, the different types of grenades, whether it's a Molotov or a frag grenade. You can throw these things very far. We saw how successful you can be with them late into map number 1 too, with the perfectly placed cooked grenade. It acquired an elimination without even having to fire a single shot. Minjun goes down as well via the shotguns. Word on the street is the shotguns got buffed recently, so maybe try your hand at some shotguns. I know there's some kinds of creators out there that have put some crazy shotgun reels together, so maybe try to emulate your favorite creator today and put somebody on a highlight reel.
Well, and Dream did a great job there, especially when you're in close quarters, a tight location, like a narrow stairwell. Those shotguns are going to do so much damage. And, well, for Elise, that'll be an elimination. The first one of the map for Elise, but a good one, right? You can get a little bit of cover around these buildings. Maybe you don't want to loot for too long because you are somewhat exposed as Reaper falls. But keep in mind, these are solos as we have 36 remaining in the map. You don't get downed, you just get knocked out and gotta wait until map 3, and that's all you got. 3 maps to be in the top 26 as the remaining 36 players here fight it out. Techno does have 1 as well, so certainly I think with these kills, not too bad of a start. Techno want to get at least 1 on the board, an elimination here to maybe pump those numbers up a little bit, but lucky for Techno, has all of them right in front.
See our shop here with the shotgun in hand, trying to replicate some success against Starfan. We know Star can play the game. It can play the game well. The jump shots over the top. Well done from Star. Able to grab their elimination. That's their second Fantastic. Those are some of the high level plays you'll start seeing from some of the players you know are going to continue to qualify and move forward in this competition. Like, not everyone here is a pro. I guess technically none of these players are pros, but some of them act like it, and maybe they're trying to make a name for themselves here in PUBG Mobile. And hey, J-Star fan, you got a fan in me. That was an impressive shot. And look at the kill feed there, Katie. Smokey, the beard, who's inside the top 3 after map 1, goes down very early. Maybe not as maybe not as a slow pace of a start as they had in map 1. Maybe they played a bit more aggressive map number 2, and it didn't pay off.
Yeah, that's tough, but sometimes that's how it goes. And the good news is you are top 3 coming off of map 1, so you can sometimes have a dud map if maybe something doesn't go your way. You get caught out when you didn't expect it. Now we're looking at TMK does have 1 kill and in fairly good shape in terms of tacticals, everything that they will need. But as the smoke comes out, just trying to figure out exactly how you want to do this entry. And well, sometimes you just got to fly in and assert dominance on the roof. And that is what TMK does. A nice second elimination.
2 eliminations, that's all you really needed, right? If Kessman went 0 in map number 1, you've increased your score up to a total of 10 points now. Every single elimination, Katie. Just today, might I add, and of course yesterday, is 5 points. As we get later into these tournaments, tomorrow and on Monday in the finals, the placement points are going to mean a lot more because we're playing in the duos playlist, because then we're playing in the squads playlist on Monday. So keep that in mind. Tomorrow and Monday, eliminations are a little bit less, placement points are more. Today, it is about eliminations, but placement points could certainly help. 10 placement points if you get first place, 9 for second, all the way down to 10th, which gives you 1 placement point. And 1's really all you need to qualify right now, right? Or maybe 2, because our 26th place, that's the last place that qualifies, was on 0 total points. So we'll see who's able to secure that last spot as we are about halfway or at least partway through map number 2. Only 3 maps to be played, and Dream is looking for a few more eliminations. Only 1 to be had thus far, shotgun in hand, but fairly well looted up, I might add. It's got the best helmet you can find, the best backpack you can find. Resource management is always crucial in Battle Royale, specifically PUBG Mobile, when you need those meds to survive any zone rotations, or if you win a gunfight, to be able to kind of re-situate yourself, throw those meds in, and get right back to full health. So when that third party does come, have an opportunity to replicate your success. I like this high ground position. Some people might say, oh, they're camping, but these types of advantages that you can take with the high ground and the new mid scene, I love the way these buildings are laid out and the way that Main Street comes through. And it's of course beautiful, but also those types of positions that Lewis has, that's perfect as long as it's inside the zone. You don't have to rotate.
Well, Dream's going to have to be careful because especially we talk about it, right? When top 26 here, 26 is at 0 eliminations. When you are posted up in a spot like this and you only need maybe 1 elimination, which Lewis already has, you can't argue with the logic of that, right? Stick to somewhere you know it's going to be safe, gives you a very large vantage point of what's happening around mid-steam. You know that there's other players in the location. Sometimes all you have to do is be patient and wait for the chicken dinner to come to you. So we'll see if it works out for Lewis. But again, Dream will have to be a little careful here as there are multiple players in this location, but none of them perhaps too keen on getting a little crazy, all of them. Happy to at least be bunkered down until they see some easy prey.
It's a fairly smart move in solos, right? If you expose yourself on top of the building and shoot up that signal flare, if you will, of taking some early shots, like you're denoting to the rest of the players in mid-steam, hey, this is where I am. So unless you can grab that elimination, it's 100% certain that you can, and then you can rotate. I mean, you know, that's an opportunity potentially to take that chance. But otherwise, you really want to lay low and stay slow inside of those buildings until you have the opportunity. It looks like somebody said, I'm not waiting around anymore, and it's Dream finding Chanel from a distance, right actually in front of them with the shotgun again. Raid's having some early success with that shotgun. Those buffs came in and they feel good.
Yeah, that shotgun is brutal, but a well-earned elimination. And now we swing over to Anime. Player of the hour. Anime, though, still searching for their first elimination. Might very well be Tootie, who's right in front of them. If you can just, peek over the corner. But I think Anime very well aware that someone is extremely close by, actually multiple someones. So inchworming their way forward to just get a vantage point, figure out where exactly these players are. As we see Elise, another elimination here. As we see that on the left side. kill feed come in, and well, you're gonna have to be careful because that tree, I don't think will keep you safe for too long. Anime creeping forward, looking for the elim. As we go over to Beat, does have one of their own, and that'll be Lewis. Elimination on to verify. Lewis was the one we saw earlier in mid-steam, posted up on that roof, and well, looks like it paid off.
Yeah, Anime was able to potentially grab a two-piece. Didn't get a chance to see if that was Tech that maybe stole the kill. Does look like a Tech stole the kill from under Anime's nose, but then Anime with the third-party shots from distance were able to pick up their first elimination. Again, Anime was in 4th place after map number 1, and they're going to elect to go back into the zone to potentially hit their vehicle so they can get to the next circle a bit quicker, because that circle is going to be closed in the next 39 seconds, and they start moving a bit faster, especially if you're on the long side. And there's a zip line behind, but not able to use those going forward. So see Elise playing these edge of zone locations. This is something a lot of players will do to hold the rotation. Noxy trying to rotate to the next zone, and Elise says, well, I'm going to rotate as well, but if I can grab the elimination first, add to my total up to 3, I'm in a perfect spot to move forward to the end game. Again, I was talking about this in these type of gameplay battle royale circumstances where you have these 2 early zones of activity. You have the early zone of activity, which is the time where you really want to pick up a couple eliminations like Elise has. You want to find your 2 kills, and then you move forward in the midsection of the game to set yourself up for the final zone of activity, which is the end game. You want to use the mid game to rotate and rotate in a smart manner, right? Like when you're having to rotate through the gas like Elise is about to do, I think Elise still thinks there's someone close by, and I'm not sure there is. It might have trouble in the zone, burn up all their meds at the very least to get to the next circle, and once you get there, if you come into a fight, it could be, well, spell doom if you're not managing your resources correctly.
Well, and Elise, maybe just playing that patient game, exactly like you said, just waiting until everyone was funneled away from this location. And you see Noxy up in front making the push first. So I think Elise should probably be safe in this rotation, at least for the time being. Might have to, of course, be careful of Noxy if they're able to get set up first. But even so, with something like 2 eliminations, that puts you, even if Elise goes out right now, in a very, very, very good spot. So you don't necessarily have a ton to worry about, especially when you have that vehicle that'll help you get out of this blue zone a little bit faster with our final 24 remaining. But heading straight toward Noxy, I think potentially Noxy at risk of being sandwiched now, not only between Elise, but that player that we saw just in front of them in XYZ. And well, who knows, Elise very well might be able to convert this into a couple eliminations if they play it right.
That was a perfect rotation. Saw Noxy on the ground, potentially saw XYZ on the left side as well. Well, I say perfect rotation. I didn't have all the information.
Wow.
And I don't think Elise had all the information, because from a distance, Elise goes down, and that is the reprieve Noxy needs to be able to go prone, get the meds in, let's get back up to full health, and then potentially try to take this fight in front of me. Hey, that's the nature of solos. That's the nature of Livik. Sometimes you just get hit with the unexpected shots from the side, and you're going to go down before you can act. But you're right. Elise still had a pretty decent start and should be fine in terms of qualifying for tomorrow. And you see mid-steam, still a bit of action, a few people hanging out on top of the rooftops. Lewis has been here since really the beginning of the game, and letting some people grab those eliminations, allow them to fight each other, because then the POI is Lewis's to work with. And had picked up, I believe, 1 in the kill feed at the very least. You can see Flame. This is the encounter we were just watching from Lewis's perspective. Has the high ground above their opponent from behind. Should hear the footsteps. If Lewis peeks when they're in the encounter on the roof, they know they're going to take some shots. So it's going to elect to go back down, play the aggressor. Might need a new helmet to trade out for if they can grab this elimination, but otherwise looking pretty decent on meds. See Dream also trying to play slow, and we remember Dream is our player that was rocking the shotgun, so you don't really want to enter into the same room as Dream. Try to catch them in a hallway maybe to grab the elim, but this is Arthur inside of our top 3 after map number 1, putting up great numbers at the top of our leaderboard, if not the very top. 28 total points, was leading after map number 1, by the way. So when you start thinking that in terms of eliminations, that is 6 eliminations, 30 points would take you straight to the top if our first place winners didn't achieve any points. And Katie, we're down to the final 17 players. Top 10 will be rewarded with those placement points, and immediately go down to 15 as Al is still alive, also inside of your top 3.
And I believe another one of those eliminations was Lewis, and it is paying dividends. This location, sitting on this roof, has been a massive boon through map 2. XYZ, we saw off screen, got an elimination earlier onto Noxie, so a good position to be in. But really, for Lewis, I have to praise that positioning, right? Yes, maybe not the most exciting. You're not running, you're not gunning, but you don't even need to because everyone is coming to you and you're able to soak up those eliminations. And well, your daddy did just that too. An elimination there will put a smile on your face. Your daddy, one of those players who, alongside Arthur, who took down XYZ, who we just saw, was in that very final circle in those top 3.
Doing well again, and when you're able to replicate that success, map 3, I don't even know if it'll matter for Al. They have an opportunity to be so far up the leaderboard at this point they can't be caught, at the very least not being risked of being relegated, not making that top 26, but you certainly would like to win it all. You can see Kesman, you can see Juice, and you can see Lewis having to play a bit of an aggressive stance. Lewis goes straight into the fight and gets punished for it. We've seen Lewis pick up elimination after elimination in mid-state and have an opportunity to pick up maybe their 3rd or 4th, but Juice comes in, cleans up the kill. Juice up to, I believe, a total of 2 eliminations. A fantastically executed third party after the opponent wasn't able to heal up all the way, and we'll see if Al can get out of this one. Crispy Bacon's still alive, playing the corners. J-Star says, no, not today. I'm getting involved, and I'm getting involved quickly. Cannon coming on top of Crispy Bacon, able to find some early shots, loses most of their health, grabs the headshot at the end to secure the kill. That is the key to success. If you can hit headshots with your hip fires close range, it's game over. People go down so quickly.
Well, Crispy Bacon had the initial engagement and the initial damage, but seemed to take that aggression and then back off, which gave J-Star the time that they needed to finesse around the vehicle, and a beautiful headshot at the end as well. For that elimination, certainly well earned. Here's Arthur with 2 eliminations. We're down to our final 8, and some of the familiar faces into these final end zones. We'll see if they can make it to that top 3 again. This is where you start getting some of those additional points for placement. Every one of those points very helpful, whereas we know the biggest points come from getting each elimination. But hey, you can couple it within that top 10 within at least 2 of these maps. You're in a great position here. But well, if you're Wisp, you gotta be careful. That blue zone funneling you right into a player who, well, if they're not careful, doesn't check behind them, might not even know you're there. And that's exactly what happened. Gets the elimination, immediately gets traded out. And sometimes that's how it goes. A couple of these third parties, we said, players, they're going to be at risk of being taken down. And now our final 6. Arthur across the way. J-Star, another elimination for J-Star. And Wrath here with 2 eliminations. And well, unfortunately, the play zone does take out at least 1 person as Arthur falls as well. And just like that, you blink and 50% of the remaining 6 are done and dusted. 3 remaining. And J-Star with 4 eliminations as Wrath gets taken out, a 1v1.
I cannot believe we went from 8 players to 2 players in a matter of milliseconds, and it's Juice versus J-Star. J-Star has been just absolutely slaying out today. A fantastic performance here in map number 2, and a pretty solid one in map number 1. I'm sure they're going to be qualifying to go forward, but it is a 1v1, and they get a decent chunk of zone to work with, right? Like, this is a larger circle than we had last time with less people. So when you're in a 1v1 like this, you need to play smart. You want to make sure you go into these fights fully meted up. You want to throw in any of your painkillers, you know, grab your energy drinks, whatever you need to be ready to rock and roll. Extra speed boost and that health regen is going to be crucial. And it looks like J-Star might be low on the type of meds they need to go up to full health. So a little bit of a slight advantage towards Juice. Playing this small rock could prove useful. Both are going to bide their time and see where does the next zone pull to, and maybe try to get a lucky grenade. It doesn't look like Juice knows exactly where J-Star is at this point, and so information is going to be crucial in order to win this one. And as a reminder, like, eliminations are great both directions, right? We have 3 on the left for Juice, 4 for J-Star, so both achieving a fairly a great number of points. But you have 10 points up for grabs if you win this, 9 points for second. So in terms of how important this fight is, not insanely important. It's a 6-point swing. However, you would love to grab that win and go up in your opponent by 6, and really to make sure that you qualify for day 3 tomorrow. A little bit of an entry fight here. J-Star again with less health to work with, and also less cover to work with now for Juice, just having to play the verticality. And it looked like a grenade was getting wildly close to Juice there, and be able to get out of it and continue to try to zone off their opponent. At the very least, just chunk away a little bit of health. But J-Star smartly is going to rotate to the right. They're both playing a little do-si-do, rocking around this hill. I mean, it's the only cover to work with. You have the one rock, you have the shed behind Juice, and then you have this verticality of the hill that you can kind of dance between. And that's what they're going to continue to do. Maybe a little bit of smoke could provide some cover. Maybe a false cover for J-Star thinking, oh, I can push this. Now, this is where the fight's going to go down, Katie.
J-Star goes in, was trying to funnel Juice away, looking for the flank, couldn't find it, but you gotta be careful because, well, that smoke not gonna last forever. Juice using that tree for very effective cover, and J-Star just wide out in the open, a risky spot, but well, really the only spot you could be in as the zone is gonna continue to push them toward one another. No final shots just yet, but Juice, that tree might be what wins this final elimination and gets the chicken dinner win for map 2 here in day 2 of the 2022 Livik Community Cup. And well, J-Star says, you know what, I'm just gonna hot drop and roll. Look, I don't have a tree, but I have passion, and I have 4 elims, and I want to make it 5. And, well, what wins? A tree or a rock, Coach?
Exactly. I was going to say, you don't need to count your chickens till the very end, but a tree or a rock, indeed. Either way, they both have a bit of success, but it is J-Star coming out on top, and ultimately it came down to the zone pull. Rock wins over tree every time. A new form of rock, paper, scissors. It's rock, scissors, tree, I guess. But regardless, J-Star, congratulations to you as you come out on top with 10 placement points, as well as, I believe, what, 5 eliminations. That's a 35-point game for J-Star. Very well done. And we're going to bring it over to Jukes to see what he thinks about that final do-si-do and whether rock beats tree or maybe it should have gone the other way.
Fair?
Seriously, like, tree should be a 24/7 victory, but you could never underestimate the power of bush, dude, or tall grass, right? Either or, it could make it done. I mean, laying down that snake play has proved victorious even at the highest of levels. So, hey, that's how you get it done there. That's how you get it done there. But, man, I'll tell you, this is a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie. I was seeing solos, Community Cup, expected a lot of people playing scared. But I think a lot of heads-up play came because that aggression is what you really need to have if you want to get that big old prize pool, especially here on day 2, right? So, man, a lot of stuff still to happen here, Katie.
But I think J-Star, the positioning in that final circle was excellent as well. It got a little dicey for a second when they were so exposed. But that final push, the tree was right by the blue zone. So they had to lose that cover at the very end, whereas J-Star was able to rotate over to the rock and had a lot more leeway and safe space to stay in that cover. So play ends up working out in the end. The elimination comes through. You got to be impressed by that. I think maybe I was a little over-ambitious in my double digits. But hey, you got halfway there with 5. So, maybe I'll just round up to 10.
Right? I
That's
think
how
a good round
math works,
up. Yeah, that's close enough. Close enough, right? I mean, literally, this is where it comes down to, because when he had that and he was holding that tree, you're right, that blue zone was coming, had to push him outside of it. But at the same time, like, you could play a little bit more aggressive, right? He could have started pre-firing that grass because he knew where it was. But regardless, hey, you know what? Still got some good points, and that's what matters. But look, Group B scores are up. And you can see here, I am Nub in first place with 37 points. And you can see some players there at the bottom that are on the cusp. Got to put some points here in the next few games, Goj.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. You can see the contrast of scores here. This is from Group B versus our Group A scores. In Group B, they seem to have put up a few more points. You can see that 26th relegated position, that 27 Cosmic Cat just right outside of it at 5. Like, that's only 1 elimination, right? So if you can pick up 1 elimination, you should be close. You pick up 2, you should be right there. Maybe a kill per lobby, or elimination per lobby is what you really need in order to move forward. I think that's the arbitrary success that you're looking for. So I almost want to backtrack on our original strategies. Like, we thought it'd be fast-paced, and it certainly has been. We thought you would need to be highly aggressive, and it certainly helps if you want to be at the top of this leaderboard. But if you're just trying to pass through, maybe playing slow, find an elimination in the end circle, get a couple placement points, you should be good to go.
Patience. Patience, I think, is going to be key here. I think you're totally right. Just playing it nice and sneaky. Try to catch a couple people a little bit, you know, that overextend themselves and get up those elims. Because I think you're right. I think it's only going to take a couple. Like, maybe if you get 2, 3 elims, there's 102 players that are going to be able to move on tomorrow. So if they can get a couple of those elims and qualify, I mean, I'd be happy, right, Katie?
Yeah, absolutely. And that map one as well for some of these players might have just been kind of testing the waters, seeing the strength of the lobby, of the group that they are in. And maybe you play a little too aggressive, you get punished for it, but then you say, I have maps 2 and 3 now to adjust that strategy. Because again, you guys are saying it right. You only need maybe a handful of eliminations. And if you can couple that with even maybe like a 5th, 6th placement for those extra points, it can go a long way. But take a look at Group A.
Hey.
It's none other than Arthur the Great. 45 points sitting in first.
Woo! I mean, I'll tell you what, if you're Arthur, you might as well just be sitting around, you know, and just put your hands behind your head because you're in the books, baby. All right, he's moving on 100% already. Okay, anime, you called it out earlier too, Coach. I mean, I think that is locked and loaded to ready to go unless we start seeing something crazy here happen in the last game. And it's totally possible, right? It's totally possible because, I mean, you got to put up some points if you want to make it in.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point, too. Like, we really love to look at the top of the leaderboard, but the story today is the bottom of the leaderboard. The story today is that kind of 20th to 26th. Right? It's Crispy Bacon. I'm staring at Crispy Bacon. I love Crispy Bacon in real life. And in game, I believe in you, Crispy, but you got to be careful. Your competition's only 2 points behind you. If you don't have a decent showing in map number 3, you're out of here. You're not moving forward tomorrow. So got to be careful. Find an elimination or 2, and then set yourself up for success in the in-game. I can't nail this point home enough. I talk about the zones of activity. I talk about the early game. I talk about the late game. The middle game is crucial. It's probably the most crucial point of the game. You've got to set yourself up for the end game. You can't necessarily play that kind of hunter position on the edge of zone, at least not in this format. Find your kills, but also find your life. Stay alive towards the end.
I think you're totally right there. That mid-game, just trying to rotate away is, it's got to be just nerve-wracking because you never know, right? There could be just one player just sitting there in a building, just holding that angle, trying to get that one elim, you know, to be able to move on. So you got to play super diligent, no blind rotations here in solos. Like, you need to be just leapfrogging, analyzing, moving little by little, and just try to sneak away some points, Katie, right?
Yeah, I mean, even say blind rotating just sounds scary when you think about it, because when you're a solo and you don't have an option, you don't get down, you just die. You have to be extremely mindful of what your plan is, right? Are you thinking 30 seconds, a minute down the road? Do you know what you want to do, or are you just reacting to the situation? I think, no surprise, some of these players were consistently seen getting to that end game, getting into that placement, maybe 3, 4 eliminations, are doing just that, aware of their surroundings, aware of what they want to do and how they're going to execute on it. Some of these other players like Crispy Bacon, you have done it. You're right at the cusp. Just one more map though for Crispy Bacon, and really, I want to see Crispy Bacon make it to day 3. Makes me hungry, if anything else.
Crispy Bacon is a legend, right? A legend in himself, dude. I've seen him one time, dude, just save a bunch of babies from a burning building, right? For all of you out there, I'll tell you what, dude, he guys has done it. He's done it all, and he's got to make it into these finals here for the Community Cup. Now, my question is to you guys, right? Solos, we know you guys already casted 2 matches. If you were in this here tournament, where would you land? Center or outskirts? I'm gonna start with you, Coach.
That's a great question. I'm a looter by heart. I love loot, so I would go to those new golden circles of loot and loot up as much as possible. If I don't have every piece of loot I can possibly find, meds, helmet, backpack, you name it, my favorite weapons, if I don't pick up my M4 or my car, like, I'm gonna be struggling. So I go grab the loot and then I rotate in, and hopefully rotate in a smart manner. Maybe grab a vehicle to make sure I get there on time.
Okay, you know what? I don't need a vehicle. I don't need loot. I need passion and aggression. I'm going to Midstein. I'm getting onto a roof like Lewis, and I'm punishing all of the victims around me. Getting my early eliminations. Coach, and you know what? If I fall, who cares? It'll be dramatic, and it'll be crazy.
That's right. Go out swinging. Go out swinging. That's how you do it right there. Man, you know what? So many different strategies, so many things to do. Look at this, Group B, right? This is Thirsty. Thirst, sorry, I thought it was Thirst Viez here with the first place, 47 points. And then, you know, like you said, the storyline, it's going to be down at that bottom. Who's qualifying on to the next day? Because at the end of the day, right, first is just as, important as 26, getting to that next day. And it's only one elim. One elim is what we're seeing here, Katie.
And look at that 20-second on down. It doesn't get closer than everyone sitting at that 5-point mark. Group B going to be really, really scary for some of these players at the conclusion of this final map. But who knows? Sometimes it only takes a moment, especially if you can get those 2 eliminations, if you can triple your points in those elims alone in this map 3, you got to be starting to feel pretty comfortable, right?
100%, 100%. My question to you guys is this right now. We want to make it clear for everybody watching, right? You see a lot of players here that have the same amount of points. Now, if you have the same amount of points, it's going to be your placement, right? When it comes to a tie, that's going to set you a place above. So if you get that extra elim, because we could see a whole bunch of 10 points, right? Some that make it and some don't. Getting that end game finish is going to be important, right, Coach?
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I came in, I was ready for some fast-paced action, and we've seen it, certainly, from the people at the top. But, again, the storyline is the people at the bottom are halfway down the bottom, because the top half of every group will move on. So if you're at that 25th, that 24th, that 23rd spot, you've got to stay alive. That is the key to success, because if you find yourself tying, like you said, Hot Jukes, you're going to grab those placement points, right?
Man, absolutely. And I guarantee you, there's some players in here, right, that they are part of the community, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're, pro player hopefuls, right? Some of them want to possibly move on to that next stage here. So, getting those elims and putting yourself on first place, right, could help get your name out there as well. Hopefully move on to the next stage, Katie. Or put it at least in your Twitter bio.
Absolutely, but you make those highlight reels, right? You have those great plays, those clutch finishes, and exactly what you said. Yes, this is a community cup, but there are players here who absolutely want to showcase that they have the skill to compete at the highest level, and who knows, might have some future pros in our midst. Maybe the Arthurs, maybe the Crispy Bacons, who knows?
I can't wait to cast Crispy Bacon, Just watch him just move so vividly through the battlefield, right, Coach? Right? Who's been standing out to you so far?
I mean, I look at Arthur, of course. I look at J-Star. J-Star, I really like the way they've been playing. Even in map number 1, we saw how talented they can be with rotations, and then found some unlucky situations. And again, as we're taking a look at Group B, we haven't had a chance to watch their gameplay, but some of the names that have stuck out to me are some of the ones that we shouted out at the very beginning when we were reading some of the names. You see EG Noobs is trying to move on, total of 7 points. You see Zombie over there in 8th place with 20 total points. And then at the top, of course, Thirst and Ghost up into the high to mid 40s, which I gotta say is really impressive too. Like, when you start thinking of averages, we played 2 maps. Both A and B have played 2 maps thus far, and if you're averaging above 20 some odd points each map, like you said it best, Hot Juice. Map 3, I mean, have some fun, right? Like just kind of play Buster, do whatever you want, run around the map like a crazy lunatic, because you're qualifying, and it won't really affect whether or not you get 27th or you get 3rd, right? It is you're locked in at this point.
That's right. Put that feet up and pour that drink up, man. You are set and ready to go here. But I know this next match is about to get started here, and it is pretty much, do or elim here for a lot of these players, right? I mean, they got to get it done, got to get that last one. So, you know what? The plane, it's locked, it's loaded. I know it is flying. Coach, Katie, take it away.
Let's get it. And I believe we're jumping in with Group B for this map. So we're going to see some new names, Katie, which I'm excited about, because we kind of got a feel for who was near the top of the leaderboard for Group A. And we're going to see in map number 3 for Group B who gets to move forward tomorrow. So as we jump straight into it, looks like a very similar playing line as the last map, and a fairly similar even spread around the map. You see a fairly decent concentration in Midstein, at least to some degree. If they decide to drop, it looks like a few have, and then a few more headed to power plant. And hey, maybe we haven't even really mentioned this, Aqueduct has a little something special. There's a storehouse over there. You can shoot the wall down, go find some extra loot. We'll see if maybe 1 or 2 players elects to rotate that direction, maybe down from refinery or otherwise.
Yeah, and talk about a hot drop already. At least 1 player eliminated. You have 4 players in this small cluster of houses. Somewhere you're going to have to be very careful of. Platinum making rotation over, just trying to loot. But you got to be careful, right? Because yes, you've landed. You will find the loot in the houses here, but not all loot is created equal. So there's a very likelihood that if you drop and run into the wrong house, well, you might pay the price for it. Platinum certainly not having too much fun, has multiple eyes on them. Sniper watching over. There we see Thirst, who is in first place in Group B, already with an elimination. Not surprising considering the success they found in the first 2 maps. But some of these other players, well, you want to make it into that top 26. You need to find that aggression early on here to get you that early elimination. And I have to feel like if you're Sniper, if you're one of the players who landed in a cluster like this, you have to be assuming that high risk, right? You have to be assuming that there are players who are landing in that same POI as you.
Yeah, and I saw right behind Sniper was Ghost, who I believe is in second place for Group B. So some early aggression potentially with some of these smaller drop spots. It's not a bad place to land if you find the eliminations. Again, in the early game, yeah, exactly. If in the early game you can find your eliminations, you're going to set yourself up for success, and you don't have to full send in the mid game. If you don't find any eliminations at the very beginning, you know you need to find at least one. So maybe you play some of those edge hunter locations, especially if you can find a vehicle. The new UTV is not a bad choice. Doesn't have a ton of cover, but it is a fantastic vehicle to get around the map. Or maybe you play like Goj. You play like me. You go loot up like a crazy lunatic. You have everything at your disposal, and then you run into the first fight and die. Yeah, that's a little bit like the way I play.
And you run in to me on my rooftop saying,
exactly.
"Hello, Goj and your UTV. How terribly exposed you are. It would be tragic if you didn't make it out with your life." But there we go. Thirst, we saw it just briefly earlier on in the gameplay that Thirst in this map 3 had an opening elimination, which will bump them up into the 50+ points, which is so incredibly impressive. But it's these players, again, who are hovering in, honestly, that 19th down to 32nd position, who need to be very mindful and make this map count. Honestly, even up to 16th place. It is very, very tight race. You could see really the latter half of the 26 in this group who are going to qualify shift very substantially depending on what happens in this final map.
That's a great point. As we hop right back into it, looks like Sniper was able to stay alive and potentially grab a second elimination if they can execute this well. One in their stairs running away. That's Platinum, and they are running for their lives because this is map number 3, Katie. If you go down here and you're Platinum and you're not inside the top 10, top 15, you're at risk for relegation, and it is a dicey circumstance. If you can kind of snake on this cover, maybe some jump shots that we saw from before, I can only imagine Sniper's going to get them. I'm wrong. I am wrong. Platinum
With the jukes.
Put that on your highlight reel. That was unbelievable. Peeker advantage there for Platinum.
What a play.
To grab that elimination. That was gross. I mean, they had a quarter of health potentially there.
What
Katie,
a play.
Again, it goes back to what I said before. If you can hit headshots while hit firing, you're going to be in a great position.
Well, and what Platinum did, because they were at a severe disadvantage, they didn't have the health, but they were forcing that encounter to come to them, right? That player had to engage around the fence to get to them. So they are already prepared for the push. They know what direction it's going to come from, and it got a little hairy there for a second. But the fact that despite having about half their health, they were able to convert that push into an elimination, a huge clutch moment. Maybe if you're not Sniper, probably not the most happy about that, but Platinum, even getting this initial elimination is going to go a very, very, very long way, especially when you have 27 remaining now. Plenty more eliminations to be had if you choose to go for them, but it's got to be a bit of a relief, right? As Platinum takes some pot shots, knows that someone is nearby in Ghost across the way. You have to feel, Goj, pretty good. Now that you got out of a hairy situation like that, you're able to loot, and you do have an elimination with so many people still remaining on the map.
You got to feel pretty good unless you get a little bit of information that the person across from you is Ghost, who's currently in second place with well into 40 points after 2 maps. So might be a sticky situation. We'll see. Now, Platinum has shown that they are certainly skilled in their own right. Question is, how do you take this encounter? Got the shotgun as their primary currently, and an AR, I believe, as their secondary, so should be in a pretty good position to win this gunfight should they be able to close the distance. But all it takes is Ghost peeking over the wall, aiming down, grabbing the elimination, and Platinum's going to be going bye-bye. Unfortunately, 27 players still left in this lobby, Katie, so we're not even close to those placement points yet. You can only imagine Platinum had to have seen Ghost on the first entry, just clearing all of the corners to make sure there's nobody else camping inside this building.
Yeah, he absolutely, Platinum is aware there is someone here. I don't know if necessarily aware of the caliber of the player within this group that they are going up against, but does throw out an opening, doesn't connect with anything. You can see Ghost up top as Sharkbait will fall early on. And I love that you brought up those placement points, right? Because it's about the eliminations here, because they give you 5 points. But if you are on that bottom half of the 26 that will qualify out of your group, and you get, say, an elimination like we see here, and you can couple it then with that placement, sometimes that is all you need to be able to balance. Take a look at the scoreboard, figure out exactly what's going on and what you need to do in this final map to qualify to get into that duos and then potentially quads later on in day 4. But right now, if you're platinum, well, you got to deal with Ghost, and well, he maybe wisely chose to just back off a little bit.
Looks like Ghost is going to play the rotation around to the next structure, but gets caught in the process. Information on Platinum's side, and you can see a couple different fights going down right now. One inside was on fire, and then Judge went ahead and cleaned it up, no problem, with a couple bullets through the window. Well done by Judge to find their second elimination. And Katie, there's something that was worth noting too, is like, especially once you're inside the circle already, I liked how Platinum and Ghost were kind of dancing around each other, because there's no rush. You're inside the circle. There's no problem. Well, I spoke too soon. Platinum's going to push the aggressive stance with the shotgun, is able to get the better of Ghost. Ghost goes down. Our player in second place is eliminated in map number 3. Now, again, if Ghost scored 0 points this map, it's not going to matter. Ghost is moving on till tomorrow. Certainly somebody to watch out for tomorrow with our duos event. But Platinum making a case to creep up to the top of this leaderboard. A couple other names you saw in the kill feed. Katie, you mentioned it a moment ago. Sharkbite went down. Sharkbite was right around 28th place or so, just outside of moving on, and going out this early doesn't bode well, unfortunately, for Sharkbite. So if you're a Sharkbite fan, unfortunately, I think they've gone down. And Lycan Faith is another that is right there. I believe Lycan might be literally 26th place.
Was 26th, yeah.
This is an opportunity, of course, to find elimination, but we know what Platinum's skill is, and right now with 0, this is a crucial moment for Lycan to be able to move forward till tomorrow.
And we've seen a few times now how impactful those shotguns are. Ghost going for the fadeaway, just tries to get off that roof, and sometimes all it takes is that shotgun spread to take someone out. So Platinum, a really, really nice play there. But now, as you said it right, Lycan Faith, I believe, is hovering in 26th, but that shouldn't be a comfortable 26th, because almost everyone around you had the exact same amount of points you did. So especially when you're sitting at 0 eliminations right now, you got to be able to convert one here. Now, I don't know if you want to go up against Platinum necessarily, or if you're even going to have a choice, but as we swing over another potential standoff, looks like they are aware of each other, an elimination each, but we'll see here if BHAV decides to push toward Kermit.
I don't think you have to, at least not yet. I mean, the zone's going to start moving in about a minute and a half, right? Be careful with this zone at your back. You can get caught in the rotation. Lycan Faith, here's that face-off we were talking about before. They both have their own pieces of cover. They're both inside of the circle, so they don't have to necessarily move, at least not yet. Lycan has to find an elimination in order to move forward at this point. There's no question about it, but like Hot Juke said, those placement points, the placement of your matches is the tiebreaker. So if you're Lycan, you maybe do want to play very, very slow and just find an elimination at the end. And, well, throwing grenades inside, not always proving useful when somebody else is able to hit you with the molly. You got to be burning. BHAV goes in for the fight, almost gets the better of their opponent with Kermit taking out over half health, but Kermit comes out on top, and Kermit was inside the top 26. I remember seeing their names. So with, I believe, 2 eliminations, I can only imagine they'll be moving forward. So congratulations to Kermit thus far.
Yeah, and Kermit got eliminations almost back to back. We saw when we were on another POV, Kermit getting one, and oh, what nice shots. Takes out Xavier before they really even realized that someone was pushing them. Uses that hill, that angle, the sight line through the window. Some crispy shots with that scope, as we also see Cat falling. Now Platinum hasn't had a moment to breathe. Everyone's been coming toward Platinum. Like him. Still going for that push again. Someone sitting in 26 really needs to get at least 1 elimination to feel comfortable here, Goj. But I don't know. Both of them kind of just dancing around each other. No one committing just yet.
I think it's the smart play at this point, unfortunately. Like, you want to see somebody play the aggressive stance. If you don't have that shotgun in hand, and it doesn't look like either necessarily do. Platinum, I know, was using one earlier. If they'd elected to keep it, maybe they're going to make a play in the close range, but you'd almost want Lycan to make the push first. And you can see Platinum kind of playing these corners. He's able to peek around that corner to be able to see into the structure across the street. And again, you just wait on your opponent to make the move. Both going prone over here in a different encounter. This is Boss getting the better of their opponent. Again, that extra recoil control when you go prone, the best way to do it. And, well, that's one way to hide. Just hang out inside of one of the Jeeps and see if anybody maybe hops into the driver's seat. Doesn't check the back. I think that's rule number 32 in a movie I won't necessarily talk about. But I love it. This is a way to stay alive. This is a way to grab some placement points, especially if you're inside the circle there in mid-steed.
And if you guys are unaware of how this works, in day 2 of the Community Cup, there are 208 players split up into groups A through D, 52 players in each. Each group has 3 maps to get into the top 26, the top half of their group to qualify for day 3, which goes into duo. So a lot of these players that we've already seen, even some that have fallen early, doesn't matter. They did so well in maps 1 and 2 that they will be qualifying. But for a lot of these players, this is their last chance shot. Yes, you got through the opening in day 1, but now can you get to the halfway point in the Community Cup? 50,000 on the line. And well, if you get caught out in the open, you're gonna get punished for it. FG, gotta be careful. Just a sliver, a little bit of health, and well, no longer, as they will fall. A nice elimination there as we continue to move toward the final circles here. The 18 remain. And this is not a spot you want to be in. What a great verticality location pops over. You can see so many people in front of you, and that's elimination 3. That will put you almost assuredly into qualification.
I was going to say, by the way, it was Waldo trying to grab that elimination, but it was Slew from distance, picked it up and stole the kill away from Waldo. And that's the type of heads-up play you need when you only need an elimination or 2 in order to move forward, especially if you're in contention already. Grabbing that 1 kill could have been the moment that they move forward or they don't. Waldo in a bit of trouble with Boss, both low on health. Waldo elected to go with the shotgun in hand, playing this tree, playing slow. And as we kind of swap perspectives inside of the blue zone, Jamaica, we're down to 16 total players, and looks like
that UTV?
Yeah, the brand new UTV. You can get across the map very well. Just be careful. A couple headshots your direction. Might be in a tough situation. Boss and Waldo electing to now push the equation, and Waldo, the shotgun again. Look, I knew the shotguns got blocked, but they look strong in those close range encounters. A lot of people like the Uzi, a lot of people like the of course, but shotgun's looking pretty great, and that's now, what, 3-4 eliminations we've seen on main stage with the shotgun at close range.
Shotgun might see more of those becoming a bit more prevalent as the maps go on. People realize how impactful they can be. 14 players left on the map. Not only do we see this UTV, but some of those red berry bushes laying around the new Livik 2.0 map. Well, go ahead if you're a little hungry, maybe you need some help. Make sure to stop at one of those. You can pick up some of those berries to help your character out. But again, you just have to assume the players who are sitting here with 2, even 3 eliminations, I think especially with that 3 elim point, you gotta be feeling very comfortable. Platinum, Lycan, look, they haven't moved from this spot the entire time. They do have some new friends moving into the neighborhood. I don't know if they're gonna get along with their neighbors, but they're gonna have to deal with each other first. Lycan, Faith, and Platinum have been in these spots this entire time. Platinum, that very building is where they were able to eliminate Ghost with a nice shotgun elimination earlier on in the map. Now we swing the Lycan. This is where you got to get nervous. I understand playing the slow cautious, but we are dwindling in players on the map. There's only 14 left, and this is where those eliminations, those placements are going to start coming in, but you do still have 0 eliminations. That's got to be making you at least a little bit anxious, right?
Well, I'd be anxious too, because this is your shot at $50,000, right? And if you're somebody like Lycan who only needs a couple points in this map to make sure they qualify, I mean, the anxiety is running high. And when the anxiety is running high, what's the best way to kind of combat that? Play slow, play strategic, grab the placement points where you can, and then push the equation when you have to. The question is, though, you don't really want to be reactionary with these fights. You want to be the one pushing the equation. You want to be the entry person that catches your opponent off guard. So it's just a matter of a standoff until somebody says, all right, it's my time. And who knows, maybe it's Jess that's going to come in from the outside of this POI and find Zombie, find Jamaica, find Lycan. Who knows? And you can see the play zone finding a number of eliminations, Katie. We went all the way down to 9 people left in this lobby. Lycan's going to be picking up a couple points here. And if I'm Lycan, I'm hanging out. I'm not moving from that building because I'm just getting free points at this point. You can see Team 22 on your screen right now throwing plenty. Oh, my The shot that looked like power bang from distance, just with the snipe. Nabs the kill on T22. That one's gonna be that's gonna be a good one for the leaderboard and the highlight reel later.
Wow, and that's why you have to be aware of your surroundings. You can't assume where you are, especially if you're in an open area, is going to be safe. A really nice elimination out of Just. We did see off screen Lycan finally got an elimination as well, so does at least have one, but just what nice shots. Gotta be frustrating. You know someone's behind that rock, you're throwing your Molotovs, and then just like that, you're taken out by Just. Zombie pushing forward, trying to connect, and what is it been so many times? The first elimination, courtesy of a shotgun. That just might have to be the close range weapon of the day, maybe of the whole Livik Community Cup tournament.
Look, I said it just a moment ago. I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to sound like a broken record. If you haven't tried shotguns with their more recent buff, they are gross right now. And like it, even a grosser finds Platinum as well. Kitty finally winning that gunfight. Like it, we thought there was going to be a chance they could move on. They were right there on the edge, and they're saying, no, 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 I'm here to stay. That's 2 or 3 eliminations now for Lycan, also making it into the top 6. A massive moment for Lycan to be able to play again tomorrow.
No, Jess fell to the play zone, coach.
That hurts.
That hurts me, those crispy shots. Well, that zone does not mess around. But yeah, that will be Lycan's second elimination. And those placement points with 5 remaining really going to start adding up. Take a look at this. Waldo Lycan not leaving that tried and true house. Jamaica right next to him. Zombie a little more out into the field. One will be in Skull just to about the southwest here in this zone. And like, you're going to have to be careful, right? You want to get these eliminations while you can, but it's going to be Skull coming in, that southernmost player in this final circle that gets an elimination, the first elimination, and that'll be really huge. So there's 4 remaining, but that's all they will get. Zombie, their second elimination coming in just like that, down to 3 here. Zombie, Lycan, and Jamaica. And well, Lycan, I think potentially coming up behind Jamaica might have a flank potential here if they can make it happen. Who knows?
There's Lycan on the left side, trying to grab the elim. I really like Zombie's position. Zombie's going to maybe push in and grab the third party. I was about to say, if they can push the equation here and win the gunfight, they will win the game. And that's exactly what happened. Our top 3 go down in a blaze of glory, and Zombie comes out on top in the last map, securing that extra 10 placement points, as well as a few eliminations. That was a heads-up play, Katie, as they watched the 2 players start shooting at each other. That was the signal flare of, hey, I can win this game, and I can win it right now. I don't have to play the high ground. I have a great position. I have the zone, but I don't need it. I can go in and grab the elimination before they're even able to react, especially before they're able to heal up.
Yeah, that was great. That first place positioning gotta feel good. Let's get Jukes in here, because like it was a slow start, but ends second place with 3 elims. But Jukes, will it be enough?
I think it will be. I think it will. I mean, to be honest with you, when you kind of put up with a couple elims, I think that's all it's really going to take here. So we'll have to see, of course, you know, once the scoreboards get all ready and loaded. But, man, I'll tell you, this is what I like to see from this group. And the good thing is for the, you know, the players that, you know, got that coin flip for Group B, right, in the next few games, they got to watch, right? They got to see exactly the strategy of how these guys did. So now they have that opportunity to utilize it. Hopefully they put, you know, in that practice. But first, we got a great content piece coming up for you guys, and we will be right back right after that.
What is your favorite gameplay memory on Livik? So for me, this is really crazy, right? When Livik dropped, we had an event to celebrate it. It was called Spark the Flame. And that was literally the very first time that they put Flip and I on opposite teams. And we had been playing the map, obviously, together, right? And we ended up dropping east side of the map and like all by ourselves. Lo and behold, I end up finding Flip, dude, with the brand new MK12. Spoiler alert.
She's doing it in style right now.
Oh, yes, let's go! Bella Fox taking down Mr. Flip, and you know they're yelling at each other right now. Is she going to go for the third?
Through the house, she's calling him out.
My favorite gameplay memory of Livik is basically right when it came out, because I did not expect for the map to be as good as it actually is, and it was a mobile exclusive map. I didn't really know what to think, in the instant that I got my hands on it, I was just addicted to that map, and it's one of my top favorite maps, especially how quick the gameplay is, how small the map is. I love it for custom rooms, and the fact that they enhanced it and made a final version of it it excites me so much.
My team lost on early barrel and I was the only one left. I took my weapon and jumped into the sea. A few minutes later, while the enemy was off guard, I shot them in the back of the head with the Livik shotgun. It was thrilling and refreshing.
Reviving Rolex on Livik, one of my most memorable moments. To be able to clutch a situation and then revive him, it can't get any better than that. Come on.
I'm not exactly known for my superior gameplay, so I'd have to go with when I learned what the recoil was like on an MG3 with a 6X.
My favorite gameplay memory was during one of my customs where I decided to play a massive game of hide and seek with my viewers, and the last person that I found would win some UCs.
My favorite memory from playing Livik was back when it was still pretty new. I found this team camping by the waterfall, and I got on a rock from the other side of the waterfall and completely took them out with an MK12 and got a massive squad wipe.
Did you know that you can push a boat to mid-scene with monster trucks? It's a jinky boat strat, but on Livik.
Mine would have to be a recent custom room that I did with a bunch of friends to celebrate a milestone. I had an incredible amount of fun gathering up some cars and some gas cans and blowing up all of my friends.
My favorite gameplay memory on Livik would definitely have to be getting a squad wipe clutch with a Molly and an M10 shotgun. I'm usually not the best with shotguns, but being able to clutch it up for my squad was definitely one of my favorite memories to date.
My favorite gameplay memory on Livik would have to be the very first day that it was released into the game back in 2020 when I first tried it. I remember it just like it was yesterday. It was a brand new map to us. It was fresh. It was an exclusive map to mobile only, so it was something that we've never seen before, we've never heard of. And when they announced that they're doing a Livik 2.0 on this PUBG Mobile update, I was super excited. So can't wait to try it out. Hope to see you guys there on the battlegrounds.
Back, everybody, to the Livik 2022 Community Cup. I'm your host, Hot Shooks, man. Great to see awesome content creators there putting in, giving us some really good answers. I love to see that. Let's go ahead and bring in back our casters here for this one. It's Goj and Katie. How y'all doing? All right. Did you enjoy that wonderfully thick break?
I certainly did. It was cool to watch all the creators talk about Livik, right? Like, shout out to everybody from behind the scenes that gets a chance to play the game and create content around it. And some of these players today, Jukes, that are trying to get up this leaderboard might be able to play with those creators at the end of this tournament in the finals. So I think we're going to take a look at the scores and see where everybody lined up, see who moves forward.
Bring them up. Bring them up. Let's take a look here. Oh, we nailed it. 2 elims. 2 elims is all it took right here. So this is Group A and Group B. Remember, the next 3 games, we're going to see C and D go at it. But look at that. Oh, it's got to hurt for those those players that got from 23rd to 26. Same points, but didn't get enough placements here, Katie.
Well, take a look, too. What really stands out to me, Faith, who's in 8th at the end of Group B, was at 26th going into that final map and got a nice 3 eliminations coupled with that 2nd place. And boom, just like that, you are feeling good about how the day went. And I mean, it's tough when you're just 2 points shy, but you said it, it's all about those eliminations. They are such a huge factor, and sometimes you only need 2.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? It's going to really just send a big message to the players in Group C and Group D, because it just got proved, right? 1 game. Literally 1 good game, a few elims, and you should be good to go. Now, the one thing that is kind of like a question mark is that since those players have that information, I don't think that they should rely on, we only need 2 elims to qualify. That's what happened last time, right? What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I mean, I'm looking at Platinum, who were like, wow, they're such a high-level player. We only had a chance to watch them in map number 3. They only had 14 total points. Probably mostly in that last map, right? Like, when you start doing the math, you're like, hey, that's 2 eliminations and, well, that's only 4 placement points, right? Well, let's take a look at Group A and see who else made it to move on till tomorrow. You can see at the very top, wow, Legal came out with 58 total points, and you see J-Star Fan. We got a chance to watch them on main stage quite a bit. 46 there in 3rd. Arthur still made it, 45. Down at the bottom, looks like Verified just outside of moving on. Nexus at 12. 12 was the score to beat, but hey, our good friend Smokey the Beard has made it forward as well.
Let's go. Let's go. Katie, what are you thinking?
I'm just looking at 30th, man.
Oh, no!
Crispy bacon, no!
Too soon. Too soon. Oh. Dude, I'm hurting. I'm hurting right now. Everybody, let's just have a moment of silence for crispy bacon. Okay, that's over. Look at that. Nexus, Mac, 12 points. This is what I was talking about earlier, right? In Group B, it was 10 to move on. But here in, Group A, 12. So I really think minimum elim a game, right? One
That's all you
elim a
need.
game, and you should be able to be pretty solid here, right, Katie?
Maybe get some of those shotguns, even in the content piece from some of the content creators. We heard them talk about using those shotguns and how effective they've been. We've seen them in a lot of these maps. So it might be helpful when you're in those close quarters scenarios. Maybe you're in mid-C, maybe you're in another one of those multi-building POIs. Get a shotgun if you're lucky enough to find one and use that when you are flying into those entry points. You said it, one elim a game might be all you need.
That's a great point. It's a great point. For those of you guys that didn't read that patch notes, I mean, yeah, shotgun's got a heck of a buff here, so that damage went up. We saw the S12K going from 7 rounds to 10. So yeah, I mean, if you're able to use that, hold the building, getting some CQC, you should be pretty set here. Goge, we was, 10, 12 points here to beat. If you have a feeling that that's going to go up here in this next one or about the same, what do you think?
It depends on how responsive they are and how much really responsive they are to the last couple of maps. If they're watching these last couple of maps, you could actually see the overall gameplay slow way down from what they expected, right? Like when you're trying to compete against 1,000 other players to qualify for those top 208 spots or so, like maybe they had to play a bit more aggressive at certain instances. But then watching these lobbies, they're like, okay, everybody's playing a bit sweatier. Maybe I should slow it down. Make sure I secure that one kill. And if everyone is trying to do that, you might not see a very top-heavy lobby, right? It might be a much closer race to the finish line, which could mean 26th place might be around 15, might be around 20, might be even 25, depending, and you really see the bottom half of the lobby down in the zeros and the fives. So I don't know, only time will tell, and really it comes down to who's in these lobbies too, right? It could just be a wide modicum of different types of players. If you have an aggressive sniper like Jess, if you have kind of a rooftop Randy like Lewis, I mean, there's different strategies, just a question of what happens next.
Well, take it away, guys. Next game is up. Go ahead.
Hoverboard, deep dive straight onto the map, not wasting any time. And I love that point that you made, Goge, which is not all groups, not all lobbies are created equal. Some of these lobbies are probably going to be a little more difficult than others, and really just depends on the luck of the draw. But a lot of these players straight to the ground, and look at how many have dropped in here. 6, 7 players make it, 8, and the elims coming in. Hunter strikes first. Midstein, this is looking a little sweaty early on.
Look, Midstein's always been the hot drop of Livik, but with Livik 2.0, the official Livik map, it is even more beautiful. Like, it just attracts people like flies do to a flycatcher, right? Which I really do love, because there's so many different angles you can play around with, but there's also that wide open main street. Well, Lucia, not even worried about Misty, they're worried about the player in front of them, and you can see, look at all the structures you can utilize to your advantage, all the loot that you can find here. This is a higher tier loot area. You can find plenty of weapons to deal with, and there's plenty of different drop spots to share. And again, it is solo, so you can maybe afford to use those shotguns at close range. You don't have to worry about a teammate around the corner. You might just have to worry about somebody else. Illusia, I thought they were going to win that, but couldn't quite connect with the hipfire shots. Blades comes out on top of that encounter with 1 elimination to their name. The question is, where do you go from here? You found the elimination. You close all of your doors so no one can come flying in before you're aware, and then you heal back up if you have the meds.
Whoever manages to come out of Midstein on top might very well set them up for the qualification in map 1, depending on how they play it. Now, it's about as risky as it gets, but, well, if you're going to be dropping there as Hunter falls, we saw Hunter, I think, get one of those first elims of the map. It might just pay off for you. But, hey, we said it, too. Even if you go out maybe earlier than you would have liked, if you get that opening elim, and we've seen from scores so far, maybe you only need about an elim a map, maybe nothing to be too upset about. We'll have to see again, though, the caliber of groups C and D and what they are bringing. And now Ruby with an elim already does have Mooney just outside the barn, so you'll have to be a bit careful when you decide to make this push. No reason to go anywhere too soon, but who knows? Mooney might be looking for the push, and I can think Ruby just trying to get an angle here, maybe get a peek on where exactly this person is, and well, won't be to your left, but careful getting caught with a nade in your hand. Decides maybe it's better off to just back off, reassess, figure out exactly where Mooney is.
I think Ruby knows exactly what they're doing. The double smoke play to cover the advances, to cover different angles you can be shot from while you're rotating. And now, then you force the equation. You hear the footsteps of Mooney. You're like, I'm going to push this fight, and I'm going to try to win this fight. Down to 1 HP. Mooney is challenging on the other side. They're both going to go down to healing off. Not quite aware of how much health Mooney has. Ruby's like, I can't push this even though I have one. They only have 1 HP. She doesn't necessarily know that. If they don't know it, and finds another couple early gun shots to the body. Mooney looking low, playing the different angles, the windows, every angle you can think of, and just gets caught unaware. Ruby wins that gunfight. It's going to be walking away with an elimination. Well done. They were kind of juking me out, too. I thought somebody would go down multiple times, and then whether it was not connecting shots or just great rotational positioning around the windows, I mean, very well done by both of those players to stay up, but it is Ruby who wins the gunfight.
Well, and Ruby, I think, very well aware of also the time it's going to take your character to find cover. Ruby never overextended down the side of the building so far they couldn't get back around the corner to guaranteed safety. And then, of course, getting those opening shots can really make the difference between whether you are eliminated or the player you're fighting against is the one who is eliminated instead. But now we have good old Bob. Needs no introduction, Bob. Doesn't have any limbs yet, but I'm sure Bob and his destructive force on the future. Icy looking for an elim as well. Senpai, Trash, a few more still all around this general area. Slow and steady can win the race here, but I feel like if you're gonna drop into such an aggressive POI, I want to feel the passion, coach. I want to see the full send.
Yeah, well, that's what you do, right? We're talking about our personal strategies.
It doesn't always work out, but you know.
Full send Katie. It's certainly full send Katie, and yes, it doesn't always work out. But if you have a shotgun, maybe, and if you have your favorite weapons of choice, you're going to be feeling pretty comfortable, whether it's an LMG or otherwise. I personally love the M4, as do most. And Icy's going to take their sweet time here. They know Senpai, or at least somebody, is on the other side, and opposing building. The question is, when do we take those encounters? And again, when Midstein's inside the circle, which most of the time it will be in the first, second, and probably even into the third circle, can really bide your time. There are so many different angles you can get shot from with the new buildings, and well, there's a lot of different angles you can get shot from if you have no idea your opponent is inside that building. FG goes down before they can even fire a bullet, and that's, I believe, Gad on the opposing side of that, and looks like another fight here inside of Midstein as Tempo, if I'm reading that correctly, is going to push up the stairs. And great drop shot from Tempo. They lose about half of their health before connecting on shots. But hey, guess what? Third party central. It's Midstein. It's Carnage. Carrying Me finishes off the third party, grabbing the elimination. Shotgun on shotgun action. Aaron Gull comes out on top of that one. It's Livik, and it's hot.
Those shotguns take no prisoners. Elim after Elim. All these players converging on each other. And yeah, you get the drop shots, but those third parties give you no chance to recover. Mr. X here with 1 elimination, which again is really that minimum threshold that we have seemed to set for what we saw out of groups A and B was, can you get roughly an elimination, a map, get into that 15-point zone, and you probably will be relatively safe when it comes to qualification for day 3. And well, it is about the shoddy right up the staircase, kicks down the door, says, don't even bother shooting back, coach. Your elimination is mine.
I gotta say too, like, hip firing is fairly difficult, especially achieving those headshots. But when you can just barrel stuff with the shotgun and potentially one pump, if not one pump, two pump your opponent and take them out and grab that elimination, that's gonna set you up for success all day today. I mean, we've been talking about strategies all day, and holding these angles is a great strategy to have if you can connect, and not quite able to do so. Little do-si-do, little bait and switch on the door, but the door goes bye-bye, and so does Aaron Gull. Goes down, but their opposition gets followed up in the process. Chowder back over here on
these names making you hungry, coach. We got crispy bacon, we got chowder. Can I get crispy bacon crumbled on my chowder?
That's a person you're talking about, but I understand the perspective. Chowder,
just saying.
Chowder's got great perspective, by the way, here with the sniper in hand to just kind of hold this main stage area. Got a long sight line to have in front of them. they can just kind of hang out here and make sure nobody comes this direction. Hey, first time zip lines on your screen. Look how
We get
fast
to
you
see
move.
it.
I'm telling you,
I
you
love it.
fly down these things, shipyard and otherwise. You could use these zip lines to rotate quickly, and Hog's doing a fantastic job of that. Shout out to the people behind the scenes to showcase those new zip lines. The new Livik map is awesome. A lot of different ways to rotate quickly, and zip lines is one of the main ways to do it.
Yeah, and especially if you need to get away, if you are in a bit of danger as well and you have a zip line close to you, how quickly you move on those can be really hard to track for someone who might be able to take you out. Granted, you will be at risk as you initially get onto the zip line, but can be a good way not only to move from place to place, but to get away from danger. And, well, if you're Playboy, you were going for the danger, but, well, I don't think you expected quads to be ready and waiting for you like they were. So Playboy will be eliminated. 31 left in the map. And I feel like as some of these maps have gone on as well, Goat, we've seen kind of faster eliminations as the maps pick up and they get a little bit comfortable with who's in the lobby and maybe the POI drop points they want and how comfortable they are with how the pacing is going to be. But I'm not surprised. We said it, right? Are we going to see more shotgun usage out of C&D based off what we saw in groups A and B? And the answer so far seems to be a resounding yes. Shredder now. No eliminations to their name, but more than enough players here to make an impact.
Yeah, and if we're watching the first couple groups and you do know, hey, if I get an elimination in map 1, I'm kind of setting myself up well. I'm in that average. Unfortunately, as you rotate between some of the POIs, there's a lot of open space here in Livik. You got to be careful. Use the shrubs, use the tall grass, use the rocks. I know some of the grass seemed like somebody came over with a lawnmower in the new Livik version, which I kind of like. Opens up some sight lines, and then you have these buildings where some of the light sight lanes are limited in terms of inside of the structures. A lot of windows, though, to deal with. I mean, talk about a pro strat. I mean, a Chimney Charlie, like, hook, that's the way to do it. Just
Chimney
hang out
Charlie,
up here,
I like it.
Really just relax. I mean, you're in a great position for some placement points. My goodness. I don't even think this player underneath Lowell even knows they're there. You can see Charlie pop out, grab the limb, and then hop right back into the chimney.
That just makes me so happy. What a sneaky little nook and cranny to squirrel yourself away into. And uh-oh, though, he pops out of the chimney. Chimney Charlie takes him down, an elimination, and it pays off. How mad are you, Goj, if that is the way you get taken out?
I mean, look, it's a pro. Like, if you're a true
that was
competitor,
great. It was
you're
great.
Like, I respect it, right? And carrying me is not going to be respected right here. Team 35 going to come in high. They were low on health, able to get the heals off, though. I thought 35 was going to clean them up, no problem. But now that they're scampering away with most of their health, could be 35 that gets the better of him. Carrying me is holding the angles up top, and one thing you can't do, third person, is you can kind of see around the wall slightly if you're holding the correct angle. So Carrying Me was doing a great job of holding the rooftop, making sure they have the height advantage, can look down the stairs with a shotgun, and if they just pull the trigger first and hit their bullets, they will win, and unfortunately can't quite connect to full capacity. It is 4-1-2, walking away with another elimination their direction, but you got to respect the pro strats, whether it's a chimney, whether it's the high ground, whether it's the stairs. I mean, do whatever you can to get your elim. And I was going to talk about this earlier, Katie. It's an interesting question. If they were watching round 1, if they were watching groups A and group B on main stage, if I was playing in this group and I grabbed my 1 elimination, I would kind of open up a little bit. I'd be like, all right, I did what I needed to do. I got my 5 points I needed this map. Now let's play a little bit more risky. Let's go for some more kills, because if I have a great map 1 and score 20, 25, 30 points, like, I essentially don't have any anxiety about map 2 or 3 because I know I'm moving on.
That is a great point to make, right? You've set that benchmark. You've hit that benchmark with that elim. So at that point, might as well just wow. Now Mr. X with 1 elim wants to make it too, and that's exactly what they do. Thirst dark, not thirsty enough. Mr. X, 2 eliminations now. So we have 27 players remaining in map 1. 3 maps here to get into the top 26 of your group of 52 players to qualify for day 3 of the Livik Community Cup. $50,000 on the line, up for grabs, and all these players fighting for it. And, well, Neely, you got to be careful when you're stuck out in the open like that, especially when the zone is right behind you. Disturb going out with those nades, trying to connect and cause some problems. Doesn't find too much for it just yet, but Neely still in a very, very scary position. Smoke, not too much help for the time being. Disturb just waiting for the push that comes in and might actually just try and make the rotation around using that smoke. But Disturb now the one wide out in the open, might potentially pay for it as the flank comes in and not nearly hardly any health to survive on as Disturb is giving them no time to recover. The final shots connect. That will be Disturb's first elimination. And well, that's why we talk about the importance of third parties. Quads comes in and says, I'm happy that you got your elim, but I'm going to take you as my elim. We'll keep on moving. 25 left in the lobby.
That is pain and suffering. I was going to comment how flawlessly executed that fight was from Disturbed. He was able to throw the smoke out early and used it as a rotation point. It was a visual cover to dance back and forth on. You want to play the aggressor. You want to push the equation, and oftentimes you'll win the gunfights. That's exactly what Disturbed was able to do. It was a near flawless fight. I think you just don't have any idea that Quads is about 100 meters away with a sniper in hand, pulling the Bella Fox, pulling the Jess from Group B, right? Like, those were disgusting shots, and it only takes one when you're low, even if you take a body shot. And a couple more close range encounters. 21 total players left. It's like Keneal has one elimination in their own right, kind of playing the edge of this zone, and can actually rotate around this cover potentially first to make sure they take away any sight lines from those wandering sniper shots that we've seen already. We had a chance to watch Icy at the very beginning of this lobby, and they seem to be doing fairly well. Still alive, trying to hold a few players rotating in. Looks like 2. That's 4-1-2. We saw grabbed an elimination a moment ago. Might go down to zone if they're not careful, and that's exactly what happened. Couldn't quite get the meds off in time, and Icy's just waiting on Senpai to come around. But guess what? It's Quads. Another long-range kill. This time not a snipe. Little AR shots from distance. We'll clean it up, no problem. If you got good aim, better use it. And Hog inside the gas, still trying to stay up. Looks like they have enough resources to stay alive for at least for now.
You know who I saw off screen? My guy Brad. Top 18, my guy Brad. He's here. Brad and Bob still here.
And Chowder.
The top 18. And Chowder, hey, but Quads finally falls to Hog, takes Quads down after Quads caused some pain and suffering for multiple people. But now Slaya in some danger shots going back and forth. But Slaya, can they get it done? No. They can. Chowder falls. The bowl is spilled. And that'll be map 1 all wrapped up for Chowder. They'll have to reassess and how they want to play it for maps 2 and 3. But now Lethal with 0 eliminations. This could be a really big one here as Slaya falls to clutch and Senpai is taken out by the play zone. It's all about getting that so important single elimination. And then to go back to what you said earlier, I completely agree. At that point, as Lethal gets that first elim, get weird with it, get aggressive, because every elim after that is just the icing on the cake, the candles, the confetti. So you might as well play dangerous once you have already done what you need to do. 12 remaining.
Look, I love that we get to stay here on main stage and our faces are on camera, because I'm sure I have like the craziest expressions anytime some crazy play happens. I'm like, oh, just cringing.
I know.
They're so close and they just make me clinch up because of how talented some of these community members are. Again, an opportunity to qualify for day number 3, which is tomorrow, which will be duos. And then if you qualify out of duos, you'll get to play with some of your favorite creators. And well, Brad, your favorite, is taken out, flips the vehicle, gets annihilated from distance, and we're down to our final 10 teams. Placement points are in play. Hog, who we saw using the zip line earlier, goes down in place 10. They will achieve 1 point for their efforts, as long as I believe they did pick up a kill earlier on Korean Quads. That'll be at least 6 for Hog. And now another fight here for Bob. Bob going in with the shotgun, saying,
Let's go, Bob.
Here's a rude awakening for 8th place. You can take that. I'm going to be at least top 7 and probably a bit further down the line, right on the edge of the circle now. Can't really hang out here for too long, but the question is, do they know that there's another player outside the zone? That is Korea, I believe. Gaming coming in from outside the zone. They will fall to that play zone. I gotta say, Livik zone hits different. I mean, it's moving quick and it hits like a truck. You gotta be careful. A couple players, excuse me, fall into that untimely demise, as now we've got the tactical crawling plays here. Toxic from above, right over Shark.
Yeah, that play zone is unforgiving. Toxic. I was wondering, Toxic had that nice high ground, was inching toward Shark, able to convert that into an elimination. You see Greaseman sitting here using that vehicle in the smoke to get away from Bob and the frags coming in from off screen. A fantastic play, but Clutch, you gotta be careful. And well, I don't have to be careful. I have 4 eliminations. I'll do whatever I want. Top 3 is Bob takes down Griezmann. And it all comes down to this. Toxic, Bob, and Lethal, your final 3 in map 1. And I mean, if you're Toxic, you have 4 eliminations here. You have more than done your job to qualify. If what has held true in groups A and B holds true for groups C and D. Now you can see Lethal here does have 1 elimination coupled with that top 3 placement will be very beneficial. If you can get at least 1 more elimination, will be exactly what you need to do. But really Toxic, seemingly the player of the day so far, at least for this group. 4 eliminations could very well turn it into 6 if they play it right.
Look at this positioning, too, right outside of this next circle. Lethal, I believe, on the other side, barely gets the heels off, might I add, right inside of that zone. You got to be careful. Blue might take... They might be playing the heel strat. We saw this. We saw this last PUBG Mobile cast we did. I was trying to think of the date it was. It was the 4th anniversary. I was casting with Powerbang. During the creator moments, there was an opportunity to do this sort of heel off to try to grab at least 2nd, if not earlier than that. You can see how many meds they have now. The med are going to go out now, and just the bandages left over. It might force their hand to move forward, but it did give the opportunity for Toxic and Bob to maybe take shots at each other. That's exactly what happens. Bob taking shots down on Lethal, but it was just enough for Toxic to grab both eliminations and the win. Look, the heal strategy net them an extra point at the very least, getting into 2nd place because of that lobby. Very well done by Toxic, though, with 6 eliminations and a win. Katie, we've got Hot Jukes back with us. Toxic dropped 60 limbs. That's 30 points plus the 10 placing points. That's a 40-point game. That's the best game we've seen all day.
This needs to change from Toxic not clutch to just Toxic clutch, you know? Dude absolutely popped off, and that's what we've been waiting for. We had to see that one player just wipe the lobby, and that's what he did. I saw your boy Brad, Katie, you know? It was an interesting strategy for Brad. You know, he stood in the blue zone for a while, was trying to creep and crawl, but hopefully he takes some notes, you know, and Toxic not clutch on the top of him, you know, and actually puts in some work here. Katie, what do you think?
I mean, that was tough in that final storm play as well, because you have to hope that those final 2 players were going to converge on each other and start firing and getting into that engagement that you could then come in 3rd party. Unfortunately, that only happened right at the very end when they were already coming out of the storm and had barely any health. And yes, you managed to get into 2nd place, but really no time to get to the rock and recover. Toxic in the perfect position in that final zone to capitalize. And again, that was those 6 eliminations. That is, Goat said it, the nicest game we've seen so far.
Yeah, Brad, we can go ahead and send that check right over here real soon right there. That's how you love to see it, right? I mean, man, it's so crazy. So many players. I mean, so much could happen here. It really just takes that one good game. And like for Toxic, he's pretty much set, I think, after this, right? One game, he's chilling. He's big chilling. Goat, who do you think, right, is going to be able to get it done here in this next one?
Probably the blue zone. Yeah, I think blue zone's going to qualify. Papa Blue, I think they had a total of somewhere around 3-4 eliminations that map. Really consistent player. No, seriously, though, the zone hits hard. You got to be careful. You know, a couple of the names, of course, Toxic's at the top. I mean, we had a chance to watch Chowder. I think Chowder went down a little earlier than we would have liked. Still grabbed an elimination or 2. And, you know, 10 points, even 5 points in first map is not a bad place to start. I mean, I said at the very beginning, right? You get 1 elimination. That's kind of the metric we've set for you right now. 15 some odd points at the end of the day will get you there, or at least will get you close. But once you grab the elim, go for broke. Grab a couple more. Like, if you play well 1 map, you might be set, and you can do whatever you want the next 2.
You never know what's going to happen here, especially in Livik 2.0. There's just so many different things that can happen. At least we got to see one player use the zip line, right?
Yes,
that got me pumped
great.
up. I got so stoked when I saw that. I want to see some more of that here. But you're right. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen here in these next few matches. So while you get that 1 elim, pop off, right? Go nuts. Try to get at least 1 more to kind of secure that spot to the next stage, Katie.
Well, I think what we saw too is yes, you do have the Toxics that come in, they get those 6 elims, they get that first place. But there were players like Quads who got some long range snipes, got some, I think was maybe at 3 elims roughly or so, went out earlier, but doesn't really matter because you did more than you needed to do already in map 1. So I think I wouldn't be surprised based on players like Quads if we see a few of those kind of middle map deaths who still got the limbs they need to be within maybe like the top 10 once we get that scoreboard.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting for that scoreboard to find out where everybody is sitting. Now, we're gonna find it out here in just a few seconds, guys. I can only imagine so many different games, and we are taking a look at just a few of the games that are happening here, right? But I can hear that Group C scores are gonna be coming here soon, right? Do you any names? Yeah, it's got Toxic Not Clutch. I mean,
wow,
just a little bit of a point buffer. Let's go, Bob. Right? Let's go, Bob, Coach.
There's some names on here we recognize. You see Keneal Gaming. We saw Keneal for a while. Hog was our zipline player. They've made it into the top 16 or so. Again, Playboy is at 5 total points. This is very similar to what we saw in Group A. The big difference, though, is I said it was going to be a fairly, spread out, even map, and I think most players are going to be somewhere around the same point totals. It might stretch our totals up. That's not necessarily the case for Toxic. Everybody else is pretty close. You got 18, 17, 15, 15, 14, 13. Like, it's a close race after map number 1. Toxic, you just hang your head up and you do whatever you want. Go hit the zip lines back and forth, have some fun, go to the aqueduct, check out the new features over there, hit some of our supply shops. I mean, you have a good time on the brand new Livik map because you do not have to worry about a thing. Everybody else, you're still kind of in hot water.
Absolutely. I mean, man, I'll tell you what, if you are going to be going on to the tomorrow, right, for the duos match, I would very much be happy to have a player like Toxic Not Clutch, right, alongside me, because that's the one thing that's going to happen is we don't know who's going to get paired up. So everybody's enemies now, but tomorrow they will be
frenemies.
That's right, frenemies. That's right. That's what I love to see. But look at this here. Oh, yeah, the new modes. Look at this, the soccer match. What do you feel about this, Katie?
I love it. I played soccer growing up. Not that I was particularly good, but you know what? I can relive my glory days here.
Yeah.
I think you get loot from this as well over
you do.
in
Blobster.
So if you want a little extra piece of loot, then go kick some goals. Well, Jukes, we'll check you in just a moment. We're going to get started. Map number 2, plane is flying, and we're going to see Master Mez is who we're jumping in with, at least to start, and that's who was able to pick some of those goals, getting ready for the game. So as they go flying down, we'll take a look and see where everybody spreads out to. Looks like a lot of people jumping early.
When do we get these hoverboards IRL? Because it just looks so cool in the drop. I mean, you got to be confident. If you're styling like this in this drop, right? You've made it into the top 208. Like, look, are they hearing me? Are they just, let me pull out every cool thing that I have.
Look, that's PUBG Mobile for you, Katie. I swear, the shop is an incredible place to find some really cool ways to spice up your character when you're dropping into different maps, whether it's Livik or otherwise. And we had a brief moment there of a sneak peek of that volcano behind, by the way. Who did I miss? Did somebody go down?
Caring, who I think was in about the top 15-ish, was just taken out very early on.
Yeah, that was like first or second elimination. Unfortunately, they're going to have to regain in map number 3. But I was going to say, Volcano, they do drop those red zones, those kind of meteors of the volcano exploding. You got to be careful of that. Would love to see the volcano take somebody out.
Someone go test it out.
Hopefully it takes out somebody like Toxic, who's like, you're fine, you've already made it, so they're not like cursing you to not have your chance at 50k. But I don't wish ill will on anyone. However, I do like entertainment.
And this is Toxic on your screen. Toxic, who has 40 points in map 1, the single best performance we have seen of the day. We'll see if someone can one-up it. Here's Playboy in a 1v1, a very apt name for the start of map 2. Slaya right above him. 2 players who are still searching for some eliminations. Had some early hopes in the first map that weren't really able to be capitalized on. Now Slaya striking first. Playboy in a bit of a difficult position here. Well, we'll see. Slaya looking like they want to push forward, spot them around the corner, but no one committing just yet. And I like that because there's so much open space. And while Playboy almost gets caught out, Slaya not there in time, but will start throwing out the mollies, forces Playboy into a position they can't get out of. And as mollies are going everywhere, Slaya finally able to lock down an elim, and a good one to have as Hunter just across the way.
I was gonna say high ground is usually king. I mean, there's plenty of movies that have shown us that. However, sometimes if you have more cover on the low ground, you can get away with it, whether scampering out for your own life or just catching the opponent unaware, overexposing their shoulders. But a great Molotov is going to secure that elimination, and we'll see.
Quads just went out early too.
Yeah, wow, that's now 2 or 3 players that we expected to potentially continue to do well after a map 1 decent success go down. And that was the other thing. Playboy, who had a chance to see it get eliminated by Slaya, right on the cusp. I mean, they had 5 points after map number 1, and they were, I believe, 26th place as we were mentioning them beforehand. So gonna have to come out and have a great map 3 showing. There's that supply shop I was talking about before. You spend your coins in there, you pick up some weapons, get those XT upgrades to have your weapons hold more bullets, have less recoil. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Meds you can buy in there, and see what your friend Brad is able to do down below. He's probably not going to take this fight, at least not yet. Going to relocate, readdress the fight from a different angle, potentially from some high ground of his own. Make sure he has enough loot to do so.
I do love that of all the players in this lobby, it is Bob and Brad who are currently in a fight. I don't know why that makes me so happy, but it really does. Brad hit by a stray nade. We'll need to heal up just a little bit as some off-screen eliminations start to come in. Here's Ruby Claps looking for their first. Conneal, well, don't even get a chance to get around and take that elim as it's stolen away from Ruby, who's now at risk of being eliminated themselves, has to back off. Slaya and Hunter still slowly working their way toward each other, trying to find a good angle for this engagement. 39 in the lobby, holding on well, but Slaya itching for this fight, putting out some pre-fire, maybe trying to flush Hunter out, but patient and waiting. Says, no, Slaya, you can make the misstep. You can come to me, and I'll make you pay the price.
This is that new logistics center. It replaced lumber. I really like the way this POI is laid out. Plenty of boxes to work around, a few structures, some warehouses to work with, and you can use all these different angles to your advantage. But it does mean if you enter into one of these buildings, you don't check your corners, you could run into some maybe, well, you're the one that's unaware rather than some unaware enemies. They're probably watching and waiting for you. Both of these 2 players seem to be the last 2 remaining players in Logistics Center, and I'm going to take this fight slowly, play the different corners, play the different angles, play all the windows, the doors, make sure they have a chance to grab that first shot that could net them the win. And, well, hey, a little penguin by your side might be a little bit of good luck, especially when you've got the shotgun in hand. I think it's the double barrel in hand, or at least low on ammo with it. We'll see. I believe Bomb could make the jump here with the shotgun. I think, like, I'm not able to decide whether they should jump or not. I'm sure that's what Bomb's also doing right now. It's like, I can't decide. Do I want to go? Do I want to stay? Do I want to go? Trying to get a bit of information. And right now, it's going to stay on that high ground, which is probably the better play, at least for right this moment. Now, we're going to jump over here really quickly and show Group D scores. Katie, a lot of the same. Not this is a different Lycan at the top, but still a Lycan nonetheless. 45 total points in map 1. Talk about a top-heavy lobby.
Wow, 45 in map 1. We thought that 40 was the best of the day, but I suppose we've been proven wrong. Lycan said, no, the spotlight goes to me for good reason. If you put out 45 points in one map, you are sitting pretty. You can just go see the BOIs, go take the zipline, go get hit by lava, do whatever you want. You are feeling good for making it into day 3 for those duos. Griezmann able to get an elimination off screen, but a large cluster of players here. No one comfortable at this point as Amali takes someone else out off screen. This will be Bomb with that one elimination. Samson, an elimination coming in and an immediate trade. J Poppy, we talk about it. Those third parties can sometimes be your key to success. J Poppy will earn an elimination from that, but Bomb right now knows there's people in this general area, knows that someone is below them, and well, maybe decides, hey, I'm just going to give up this roof, this high ground power position, try and catch this player unaware, spots him around the corner, and it is the shotgun again. Bomb, 2 eliminations now, a great choice to just take the fight to them.
I think that's the play. When you know you have the advantage utilizing the shotgun, or at least it's an even trade, and you're the one pushing the equation. We've been saying this all day today. You enter in, you hit your shot, you're good to go. Now, some of these players, again, the community players, not necessarily pros, they might not have the best aim in the game, but so far, the aim that we've been seeing from some of these community members is top tier for the most part. I mean, there's some long range shots that have maybe gone a little bit awry, but especially the close range encounters, that hip fire or the shotguns, I guess it's hard to miss. Maybe I'm just really bad because sometimes I miss my shotgun shots, but most of our players today have been connecting with those shotgun bullets, and they do a ton of damage. So Blaze doing a lot of the same, shotgun on hand, playing the high ground, playing the stairs. See Griezmann going to play the rotation with the vehicle, and UTV is a great vehicle to utilize. It's got pretty decent speed. It can get around all the different types of terrain you'll find in Livik. Love to see new vehicles and new features added, and most of this Livik map is new, which is always refreshing and a ton of fun for players to work with and find new strategies, new chimneys to hide in or otherwise. As we swap over to Illusio, Team 19, a player right outside of the door, and I don't know if they know it. I can only imagine.
They're not acting like they do.
I don't think they knew that player was there, but that was the right play. Get out of dodge, because if I'm the player that's prone outside of that door and I hear somebody out looting up inside, I'm pushing it immediately as my little T-Rex follows me up.
It's very cute with the little spinny helmet. See, they know. Maybe T-Rex warned him. Said, "Hey, there's someone with bad intentions for you in this building. Move next door."
Best item in the game. Grab a T-Rex that gives you information.
Illusio, you don't understand the danger you're in.
Maybe they do.
Oh,
no.
No, they don't. They don't. No. And this player, Ali, is not taking advantage of this. Whoa, why haven't they pushed out to get the elimination? What is going on right now, Coach?
They're anxious. They're scared. The bottom of the ability to move on, like 26th place, there's only one elimination. So Aragel Affy's hanging out. Maybe they're AFK. Maybe they said, nobody will come to this building. I got to go get a snack. I got to go oh, no. Oh, Illusio knows. Pushes open the door and says, wait a minute. There's somebody here. It's going to push the equation. Find the kill. Illusio gets the better of their opponent. I can only imagine as they turn it into a snowman, Aragel saying, why didn't I shoot first? Why didn't I bust through the door and surprise them? That hurts.
There is something to be said for playing cautious and playing slow. That was neither of those things. And Illusio, you'll happily take that kill, maybe a little bit of a heart attack in the process, not expecting that elimination, but happy to take that elimination. And next we go over to good old Bob. I don't know if Brad's still up, but Bob going strong with one elimination, but so many people in the vicinity as Stormy gets an elim. Off screen, you can see Griezmann there, who have had his POV a few times loads, and another player occupying the third and first floors of this building. I have
Yeah.
paying dividend, turn it into 2 elims, then well, you're sitting pretty. Loads here with 1. These players just figuring out exactly the angles that they want to take to engage in these fights. Here's Icy. Just seeing if they can see anyone around the corner, maybe through this window. But I agree, some of those, when you have that third-person perspective, you've mentioned it a few times, your ability to use those camera angles to get those sight lines to figure out what you can and can't push, always very important. But Midstein, well, the POI of the day, for a reason, you will always get a large cluster of players here, and that is what you have right now. Illusio going for potential kill onto J. Poppy, spots him just outside the window. doesn't immediately go for the re-engagement, but, well, you might have to because J-Poppy right outside the door. Surprise, though! It's the third parties for a reason, and Illusio will fall. J-Poppy able to get an elimination onto another player here, but back and forth at entries. An unfortunate timing there. I just don't think Illusio saw. J-Poppy did not expect for that third party to come in the way they did.
Yeah, I guess they didn't hear the footsteps or something like that, but regardless, you can see Blades on the right side, Loads on the right side, and then Mr. finds an angle to grab the elimination. Wow. Unreal, and then the push the equation. Blades finds the gunshots from distance. Mr. thought he was free and clear, and Blades said, no, not today. You showed me exactly where you were at.
And that's it's so risky to be caught out in the open like that because, again, when you're in these solo situations, you're not going to get down. You don't have the chance for the teammate to make the play to get you back up onto your feet. You just get punished. That's why oftentimes these high ground positions that much more beneficial when you're in that solo situation. Now, Thirst Dark, yes, you've made it into the final 24 as Hook falls off screen, but you don't have any eliminations yet. And I know you're aware at least someone is nearby, but it is that elim per map that is that crucial point you want to get to, and so far not there just yet.
I think something else that we really haven't talked too much about, I mean, we've talked about the UTVs and their usefulness and vehicles in general, but the usefulness of these vehicles to rotate is everything, especially with the amount of open space between different points of interest, the different POIs that we see. And then, hey, well, speaking of useful, grenade, a lethal grenade from Lethal Gilman, cooks it up, throws it through the window, and grabs the elimination. That's one for Lethal Gilman. We'll see if maybe they can put that on those YouTube contents that apparently they're making onto the side. That's what we love about these types of events, right? It's community members getting a chance to show what they've got, whether it's cooking grenades, finding snipes from distance like Jess, or otherwise. Put that on your highlight reel. Put it up on YouTube. Go become a PUBG mobile creator in your own right. Toxic, not clutch. Does not quite clutch up that fight, though, Katie. After a 40-point game in round one, does fall a bit earlier.
He got another 10 points. He got his 2 elims. He's fine.
True.
He's doing just fine. Interestingly, to note on that UTV play you were pointing out earlier that we saw Toxic Dark taking, Griezmann did punish him for that off screen. We saw the elimination Griezmann took out Toxic, so he will not, well, 2 Toxics in a row that fell in short order to each other. So that UTV, yes, extremely helpful for those fast rotations, but very exposed vehicle, so easy to be punished while you're in it. Now we see no elims here either, and, well, maybe not the safest position to be in. You've got a fan of players all in front of you, from Saber to your left, all the way around to Trash, and more to the right. That zone is going to continue to push you in their direction, and as this map goes on, that blue zone we've seen so many times. It takes no prisoners. It might have the most elims of the day so far, maybe even more than what we saw from Toxic in map 1. As BXK looking for elim 2. Hopo, nice job to get that elim onto Stormy Tempo. There you go. The trade's coming in, and, well, just barely with a crumb of health. Survives, at least for now.
Gonna say, we saw our first bush Wookie laying down in the bush. It's a great strategy, especially if you're trying to stay alive till the placement points come through, which is very soon. Lethal Gilman pushing the equation, pushing the action. There's an opponent right over the wall. We see what you can do with the walls. The snaking ability in this game is crucial, but it is going to go down to a little bit of a healing opportunity. Griezmann says, oh, I'm getting out of dodge. Screw this. I have no opportunity to win this fight. They've got the cover. They have the position. I'm going to rotate across to another building and then find my own position to hold, especially when they have that shotgun for the close range encounters. If my opponent decides to push, I know I can win that gunfight.
Lethal, some adjustments and prone on the ground. Doesn't have to be too worried because actually, not that they are aware, but the cluster of players actually on the other side here. You can see as we swing over to FB to Boss, this is where a lot of the players in this area are clustered, both on those roofs and on those first stories. Spots one. They just sees Ruby there to his left. Trash getting an elimination, and Bob just trying to get around the corner to get somewhere to safety. Not a UTV, a little bit more safety using that vehicle. Hunter, an elimination off screen. Hunter with another elimination coming through, and Lethal take out Trash, and now FB saying everyone else is getting their limbs. Where are mine? Maybe I gotta get a little frisky.
I mean, you've got the high ground, but you're not inside the circle, so you know you're going to have to rotate soon. You can see Hunter on the edge of the zone is going to have to rotate in, probably being held by Griezmann and potentially even Bob, but they have their own structures
Mooney.
to deal with. Look, I'm telling you, the blue zone's going to qualify. They find another elimination. We're down to a total of 8 players left, and Hunter's out on the edge of gas. Going to grab that vehicle to rotate in. Not going to risk it. Going to get in as quickly as possible. Bob holding down a building. Few other opponents inside structure. You see Boss on the left side. Icy in front. On the right is Popo. And all of these players still just trying to find the correct position, whether it's inside the zone or right outside. And I think Bob has one of the best positions because they are inside the zone. They're able to still use the windows to potentially grab some longer range eliminations if they want to risk it. Now, Ruby, who we saw do some pretty unspeakable things earlier in map number 1, has an opportunity to not only grab a few placement points here because there's 8 players left, but also they can push into this building and grab Icy off the high ground or potentially catch Icy on the rotate. A couple shots across this little main street. You see Popo on the right. Ruby goes down. Boss is looking to try to grab the elimination on Icy, who grabbed Ruby, and that's exactly what happens. But Boss is taking quite a bit of damage now in the blue. We could see blue with another elimination if we're not careful. Bob still a great position inside. FAMAS in hand, ready to get into the action should he need to. We know Bob has the secondary. The question is, does he know that Boss is going to come in from the blue? And, well, yes, exactly right. Bob had all the information he needed to find another.
And at one point, as you were looking at all those players, 3 of those 6 before that elim came in all had shotguns prepared, and for good reason. When you're bunkered down in your house, we'll have to see. Hunter here has done such a good job, despite being so far out earlier after getting those 2 elims. Manages to take that vehicle and get into a good position here. So we have 5 players left in map 2. We'll see each of them occupying their own house, just with Lethal out by the trees, waiting to see exactly where the storm's going to funnel them all into. Bob taking the time to get prepped and ready for these pushes. But really, Bob, not too many threats, actually, unless he just says yee-haw and goes for it. But it actually ends up being a ha-yee as Hunter is waiting at the window, says, silly you, I know the storm's at your back, but if you're going to jump out into the open, I will punish you for it. Popo with 3 eliminations, and now with 4 remaining. Might turn it into 4 here as he swings around the corner, shimmies back, but it's the shotgun for 4 elims, takes down Hunter. And just like that, Coach, 3 remain.
Look, if people are watching it at home, is this proof enough for you? Use a shotgun, imtain or otherwise. These shotguns hit hard right now with the recent buff. Popo using full every single shell, every single pellet out of that shotgun to grab the elimination. Hunter had a great position inside the building, but after taking a bit of damage, I believe, from Bob, it wasn't necessarily a balanced fight, and then Popo just strung it in with the shotgun. Now it's a 1v1v1. 3 players left, and Lethal's gonna swing around the right side, find Griezmann, get shot from the left from Popo. Both are low. Who's gonna push out first? It's Lethal, grabbing the 1, grabbing the 2, wins the 1v multiple situation, and comes out on top. 10 placement points going to Lethal, and 2 eliminations at the very end.
Nice shots. And the way that those final 2 players converged for Lethal as well worked so perfectly, because Lethal's able to focus on 1 kill, right? Get that player on the ground, use that wall for a brief minute to recover, and then goes around, gets that final elimination on the other side. Now, if those players all converge on one side of the wall, maybe a different story, a crazy showdown, we wouldn't know who came out on top. But Lethal, I think, played those final 2 eliminations really well. And I think was going into that with maybe 3 or so elims. So you get that first place alongside maybe something like 5, and you got to be feeling really, really good.
Well, the question is Hot Jukes feeling good after map number 2? Because that was a hot map. Hot Jukes, what do you think?
Oh, man, I love to see Bob, dude, pop off. Dude, this guy is, we talk about legends, Bob is a legend, dude, right? Before, his name was Hyojin, then he turned into Bob, and the guy became almost unstoppable, but, you know, got stopped here in that last one. Shotguns. Shotguns were the key, especially that overview right towards the end of the map. I think almost every single player had one in their hands, Katie.
Yeah, they did. It clearly is catching on very quickly. Those buffs that came in recently paying dividends for the players who got there and got into that shotgun meta a little bit faster than everyone else. But yeah, I agree. Bob, if I'm going up against someone who's confident enough to just have their name as Bob, I'm probably pretty scared.
100%. 100%. I mean, Bob is definitely somebody that you should fear because in these next couple matches, you know he's going to come bring the heat. Who really impressed you, though, Goj?
There were a couple. I mean, Lethal, of course. Lethal grabbed the victory, the chicken dinner at the very end, but also found eliminations along the way. And that's very difficult in solos, right? When you start pushing the equation, when you start playing the aggressor, all these words we've been using all day today, if that's your role and you're playing high risk, to also grab the win, it's difficult. And we've seen only a couple players able to do it. We saw Toxic do it in map number 1. Lethal this time around doing it and scored somewhere around 35 total points at the end of the day in map number 2. So certainly secured their way into day 3 tomorrow. And the question becomes, what are they going to do in map number 3? But really, what is our 25th, 24th, 23rd place teams going to do?
I mean, any of these guys could really just spoil things for everybody if they wanted to. Like, they could just go pop off and just crush dreams. You know, hopefully we don't see that happen to some of these players. But, heck, I mean, that's the benefit of being able to pop off here early. You could just do whatever the heck you want. What would you do? What would you do? Would you go and just start taking everybody out here, Katie? Or would you just say, hey, you know what? I made it. I'm good.
I'm going to the lava. I want to see the lava, and I want to see it on the big screen, and I'm probably not going to get out of it alive, but it'll be worth it because I already know I qualified. So yeah, go have some fun. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're bloodthirsty. They want to go out. They want to get as many eliminations as they can, but you know, I want to go see what the volcano's doing.
Hey, you know what? Do some sightseeing, right? Might as well.
Exactly.
Start to do some sightseeing. Try to scout out, okay, who's going to be my partner tomorrow, you know? And, you know, just hopefully just pop off. I like that. I like that. You know, get that intel in. So very important. Very important. All right, next game is about to come on. We don't have much left of this tournament here. I think we need to see a little bit more aggression at the start, Coach. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you pick up early kills at the very beginning of the map, you can do whatever you want the rest of the map, right? And if you really want to win and grab a 40-point win or a 45-point win even that we saw in Group D, then you grab your early eliminations, then you get to the end zone. Like, go to the center of zone and hang out, loot up if you need to, go hit those supply shops, upgrade your weapons with the XDX upgrade packs because you're gonna get some extra ammo, you're gonna get extra recoil control, and you're gonna be able to execute even a higher level at the very end of the circle. And of course, grab your shotgun because that's really all you need at this point.
Shotguns are meta. I mean, they have really just taken over, especially in Livik, because Livik, you know, you get that M10. It's the only map you can actually get that shotgun. So, I mean, we're seeing players just utilize it to its absolute maximum capacity. And, you know, the FAMAS, it's been claimed to be one of the best CQC weapons. And again, a Livik only one. But, I mean, those shotguns, especially if we ends up with like an urban combat finish, it's the way to go. It's a way to go here. And we're going to be taking a look over at Group D for the final match here. And I like that eyebrow raise. I'm telling you.
I'm excited.
I am so pumped to see which player is going to pop off your coach.
Yeah, I think what's fun is that we don't have any, preconceived notions or preconceived notions about who's going to do well besides the leaderboard. Like, we have paper in front of us. And this is what happened last time. Look at Group D right now. Lycan and Moon grabbed only 5 points in map 2, by the way. They had 45 points in map 1, and you can see Payback has crept up, is within running to be first place in Group 2, depending on how they do. You see Cosmos at 39. Like, this is a pretty tight lobby at the top, and then down at the bottom, it's still 5 points to qualify. You need 1 elimination to creep your way up potentially into the qualification rounds. It was so fun last time about jumping in with Group B at the very end with somebody like Platinum, who was hardly even on the leaderboard, popped off and said, look, I am talented as well. I'm going to qualify, even if on paper I haven't been able to do so yet.
Man, I mean, anything can happen here. Anything can happen. One game of popping off is all it takes. And I think what's going to happen via the shotgun. It has to happen. So, guys, I know we're getting close to it here. We're getting closer to here. I need some predictions. Here. Really quick, Katie, give me one. Who's going to pop off? Is Bob going to do it? Yes or no?
Yes. We believe in Bob.
Coach, how about this?
Sure. I'll say we'll do the fist bump. Bob,
right there.
We're close. Bob's going to pop off screen. We're going to see if Lycan Moon maybe could pop off here for Group D. I believe the play's ready. We're going to jump straight into the gameplay. We'll see you in a bit. Hot Jukes, as this is Deadshot come flying in on that waveboard.
It just looks so cool. I know I've said that 3 times in a row, but like it looks great. If you're gonna come into this $50,000 tournament, you gotta fly into map 3 in style. You know what I mean, Coach?
Yeah.
And well,
no,
if
absolutely.
your payback, unfortunately for him, he may have landed, but that's about all he'll do as the first elimination coming in here. And something I noticed when you look at Group D, especially that leaderboard, is that if you are in roughly that 18 to 26 positioning, you only realistically need 1 elimination here or a couple placement points to be secure. Because a lot of the people just outside that top 26 have 4 or less points. So you don't really need to do a lot of heavy lifting in this final map to secure yourself something. And again, yes, you want to be at the top for the bragging rights, for the ego, but it is the top 26 in each group that qualify to get into day 3. So it's not like there's money on the line here just yet. You got to just get through that qualification stage, get into the duos. Now Dead Shot already with an elimination. And we swing over here as well. Another player with an elimination as Nunez off screen gets one. Quispy with a frag gets an elimination as well. So a lot of these players starting to get chunked down early on.
I am getting word as well that Deadshot's one of the regulars that competes in these events. Certainly somebody to watch today to be able to qualify, of course, till for tomorrow, but potentially even be able to qualify to play with some of our creators in the final. So we're going to take a look at Deadshot right now on your screen. Apparently, word on the street, very talented player continuing to make a name for themselves in these style of events, which is, again, what we love about our Livik Community Cup and what we love about PUBG Mobile is they give events to some of our community members to showcase what they've got and a chance to win a portion of $50,000. I don't think Blanco had, well, maybe even a gun to their name because they didn't fight back at all. Walker able to grab an elimination and Walk for just better of it. I mean, didn't even take a shot.
That was not a game of Ring Around the Rosie that I ever would have wanted to play. And I don't think that player was particularly thrilled about it either. I mean, there's just nothing you can do. You get caught out like that, and there's nowhere to run. There's no way to really finesse it. You will eventually get taken down, and the elimination comes through. Now, Dragon, that shotgun, we've seen what it can do. Shotguns, I think, on both sides of this. And, well, Dragon says, you know what, Polo, you can shoot first, but I will shoot last. A nice first elimination, but you can't be too relaxed as there are players. I know there's one right in front of you. You'll have to be mindful of Austin and Y around the corner. Boss there as well, I think was in that UTV and got taken out of it by Austin. A nice elimination. That's what we said. If you need to change locations, if you need to get somewhere fast, those vehicles can be so very helpful, but the UTV will leave you exposed. You can see there, Dragon taking a peek, and unfortunately, the owner of that vehicle already taken out, so no more elims for Dragon unless they want to swing over here toward good old Glizzy.
Again, as a reminder, this is Group D. We were hanging out with Group C for the first 2 maps. This is our final map of the day, and this is our Group D, folks. This is Lycan at the very top of the leaderboard. Glizzy at the top of that elimination. Dragon didn't even have a chance holding the angle perfectly. Glizzy will find one and be able to hang out inside this structure for a little while now if they choose to, after looting up and all the things that they need. You can see Neil on your screen right now, and looks like Fallen Moon across the way, just waiting and watching, ready to fight should things go their direction. They probably know there's somebody close by, but don't want to push out into the open, at least not yet. But Fallen Moon is going to push out into the open. Neil might hear those footsteps, crank the audio all the way up, because you know you might hop into an encounter within the next few seconds, and you have to be ready, especially if you don't have a shotgun in your inventory. You're going to have to take those early shots and take them quick. Fallen Moon finds the second story of the green building across. It is going to kind of rotate around, clear all the different angles. Door open, definitely the other ear. Neil peeks around the corner. Great usage of the cover, but no, it's Fallen Move. Hit fire, headshot. That's all you need. Whoever's got the better gun, he's going to come out on top. And Fallen Moon, seemingly the better gunny in that circumstance.
Nice connection on those shots from Fallen. That was crispy to look at. Well executed, and good job in converting that into an elimination and not drawing the fight out for too long, right? Because as you can see, you have someone like Walker, who also has 2 eliminations just down the road, is going to be aware of the fight that's occurring, and you don't want them to drag on because it gives more people the opportunity to come in and play that third-party spoiler role. Now, Synthetic, with 1 elimination, does have a few people nearby, and got to be a little bit cautious. Get the positioning that you are looking for and see if you want to start pushing into some of these gunfights. 26 left. The map you can see fallen there just to your right. Austin, across the way, a player to be wary of, has had some good plays so far, but for Synthetic here, I feel like any of these players you see who have that 2 elimination mark, you have to assume at this point that they've done what they need to do to qualify.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing too, Katie, as we're talking about these players engaging these early gunfights and taking out a few eliminations to creep their way up the leaderboard and qualify for tomorrow. It could simply come down to what loot have you found, right? What resources can you manage well in order to succeed? I mean, the earlier gunfights we were watching where it was a close range fight, you know, the one headshot is the needle mover on whether or not you win or lose that fight. I believe one of the players didn't even have a helmet on, and so that headshot's going to do extra damage, quite a bit extra damage, by the way, and that was one of the reasons that our player on our screen was able to grab the eliminations. Just things to watch out for, those small little micro decisions of I'm going to engage in this gunfight before I'm fully looted. It's just one of those things you got to be careful of. But I do believe we have Group C scores ready to take a look at, so we're going to jump over those very quickly, and then we'll hop right back into the action, because there is Toxic at the top of the leaderboard at 50, and there's Lethal right behind after their map 2 victory. But Katie, look at the bottom, 10 points for 26th place after 2 maps, and there's a lot of players at 10 points, all the way to 16th place at 10.
Yeah, 16th through 26th, all with 10 points. And that's got to be such a heartbreaker, though, for the likes of Conneal Gaming. We saw them playing earlier on, and by 1 point, same as Icy, falling just shy of that qualification. But good games nonetheless. Why with 1 elimination, using that UTV, passing some of those yummy red berries if you decide to take a stroll through the woods. But right now, just trying to take a stroll toward the final 10 to get some of those placement points alongside with those elims. Lycan Moon, maybe not a player that you want to get very close to, considering how well they've been playing. And Lycan, well, it doesn't matter when the shotgun comes out. You say, get out of my face, sir. I'll happily take that.
I mean, that was 100% health to 25% health, but 1 in 10 to the face will grab the elimination. That was disgusting. I loved our overhead cam. It looked like it was so much in the favor of Lycan. They just couldn't quite execute at the very end, couldn't quite hit those final bullets they needed to grab the elim. Now, I think Lycan's going to be just fine in terms of qualifying for tomorrow. But we're going to jump over to the scores here for D as well to get a quick reminder of where we're at. Because, again, it was Lycan at the very top with 50 total points. They did get eliminated, but as you start creeping down this leaderboard, a little bit of a different story. 5 points are the scores to catch up to.
Yeah, and that one a little different, right? A lot of these players, when we saw a lot of 10 stacks in terms of points on that leaderboard, this one a lot of 5 stacks toward the lower portion of that top 26. Speaking of those 5 points, Bear yet to get that first 5, sitting at 0 eliminations. Quispy waiting to see at this UTV through the smoke who they can find. Why, though, taking an appropriate move actually through that house, but might not even realize that they're in danger. So they'll get back into that UTV, and well, you're not going to want to drive into that rock for too long because there is someone who is watching you. Well, maybe no shots there for Quispy to connect with. Decides maybe they just want to sit back and wait and watch and see what's going on.
I love how we have to pronounce this name Quispy. It's just so funny. It sounds like we're commentating with a lisp, which is amazing. So Quispy, get on you.
I like the name. It's very
it's very crispy. Is that what you're gonna say?
Well, there's Crispy Bacon is still in chat, and I don't know if they're going to get a little jealous of Quispy.
Oh, I'm jealous of those shots. Those were pretty strong. Couldn't quite grab the elimination, though, as Whips is able to get out of dodge just barely. Whips will not go down. The survivability of Whips right now is insane. That is the same player we saw survive against Lycan Moon. We'll see if they're able to do it again, this time from distance. You can see Fallen Moon, not to be mistaken with Lycan Moon, on the right side as well. And PVT Walker all the way up inside of the structure. Maybe not anymore, but regardless. About 4 or so players in this area. We're still 22 players left as the second circle is about to start closing in. Hercules is one of those. Still 0 eliminations their direction. And, you know, that's the big question mark, right, Katie? We've been talking about it all day today. Can you grab your 1 elim and then placement points will come? Because, again, Hot Jukes highlighted this earlier. The tiebreaker comes down to your overall average place. So you got to place high in order to win that tiebreaker in case you are tied for 26th and maybe you're close to it. Got to be careful. Stay alive till the end. Grab your placement points, of course, but also grab your points for the tie.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have said it better. To be aware of that, to be aware of your placement, even if you don't necessarily know the overall leaderboard. If you've seen the leaderboards for groups A and B and understand how close some of those differences can be toward the latter half of those 26 qualifying players, you should have an idea of what you need to do to be able to qualify. Now, swing over to Whips with 2 eliminations, doing more than they need to in this case. If they can couple that with some of those placement points as Nunez takes out Bear off screen, well, you got to get away with your life. Whip seems to be impervious to dying when they are in extremely high risk positions, and Payne trying to connect, and oh, Whips, you're not in the best spot, so who knows? Payne might bring it to Whips and finally take them down, but I don't know, maybe Whip's got a lot of luck on their side right now.
I can't decide if it's Whips or if it's Wyos. The O is the special character.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Either way, again, survivability of Wyos and Whips is insane. Wyos, thank you.
Saying Wyos, thank you.
Thank you. Wyos will not go down, and showcasing why they deserve to qualify going forward because, look, if you could take that many bullets from distance, this is the first time we've probably seen a player get shot at by 3, 4, 5 different players and still stay alive, utilizing that cover. It was something I was going to mention during the break, Katie, as we have this downtime. Oh no, Quispy went down. Poor Quispy. Hopefully they scored enough eliminations to make it to the next round. But something I was going to talk about and highlight is the ability to think ahead. It's almost like a chess match, right? You've got to be thinking ahead of when I do make my rotations. If I get shot from this angle, do I have cover at my shoulder? Do I have a building to work with? And when you're driving a vehicle, you have to think even faster. And that's what Wyos has been doing this whole time. Using the vehicle, using that UTV. It's not going to flip on you. It can go over all the different terrain. And as you start getting shot, can I curve, find cover, heal back up? And so far, so good for Wyos. But Yashi, great shots as well. Not even letting Bueller have any chance of shooting back. And they find their first elimination. That's got to feel good with the stakes that are today.
That has to feel incredible. The shots were great. 18 players left now. Even if that is your only elimination, you couple that with placement points, especially if you can get that second elimination, you are sitting so pretty. Now, my 0 elims as well. We'll see if they can convert that into their first elim like we just saw. But I agree with you, right? Being forward thinking, being aware of not just what is happening in the moment, but what is going to happen and what your game plan is over the next few minutes. Very helpful in planning accordingly. Unfortunately, Wyos did have the sustainability, but not forever. Wyos, at least off screen, we saw the elim coming in. I'm not sure if we're going to see that again here, but with 3 elims for Austin, I don't know, maybe there's multiple Wyos? I think there are multiple. But regardless, able to get that elim, and we'll see Walker off screen taking out Fallen Moon. Still, I think maybe one of the remaining players here in the 16 still looking for that first elimination, right?
Yeah, we've got plenty of Wyoses around the table still up, so I'm sure they're all trying to qualify to move forward until tomorrow for duos. Maybe a couple Wyos teammates will join up for duos as well. Maybe they'll get a little lucky in that direction. Mai is trying to get a bit lucky as well, because you've got Walker on the left. And Walker's got a pretty good location. They're just got to play slow on the edge of zone, and Leslie's not going to play slow. He's going to find Gar. Easy kill up above, or at least they made it look easy. Gonna heal back up, still on the edge of zone. He's gonna have to rotate in. And Katie, we are 3 players away from these placement points coming in, and when it's really coming down to the wire at 5 points down at the bottom or 10 points down at the bottom, every single point counts, including that 10th place 1 placement point. It could be the difference maker on you not hitting that tiebreaker and potentially losing that tiebreaker to not qualify for tomorrow. And Mai goes for the kill, but it's the shotgun again. The M2 hit M10 hits different. Mai goes down without a single elimination. That could be their tournament done and dusted.
That is tough, because not only are you foregoing the placement points, you weren't able to get that elim for the 5 points there, and it is that shotgun as Walker gets tagged up that is so punishing. Didn't even have a chance to react, right? You come around the corner and just bam, shotgun to the face, and your map is over. Now we'll have to see some of the players here. Again, when you're sitting at about that 2 elim mark, you've got to be feeling pretty good. But I mean, take a look here. Is this a Midstein? Is this back-to-back map ends at Midstein?
It might just barely creep out of mid-steam for Circle 6. We'll see in a moment, but I do like these urban endings. It provides more opportunities for cover, more opportunities for 1v1s. I mean, when you're in solos, you're already having to 1v1 everybody, but when you don't necessarily have the risk of third partying because you have an entire building behind you and you'll hear those footsteps coming, I mean, it's an opportunity to kind of outplay your opponent with the cover, with the windows, with the high ground, all the different angles at your disposal in mid-steam. It's a lot of fun to watch. And the open fights are fun as well. It becomes a lot more snaking and tactical crawling in order to stay alive. And we've seen a lot of both today. You can see YO's Austin on your screen right now, feeling fairly comfortable. Looking for their 4th elimination. Again, probably, if not definitely moving forward, unless they've dropped 2 goose eggs back to back. And well, especially if you can win this gunfight, that's now 4 eliminations for YO's Austin. That's a total of 20 points on the table. Make it at least 21, because guess what? Top 10. We're into the top 10. Placement points are in play, and YO's has got to make an 18-point turn. Get that car around. Supercar all the way up into the zone. You got to go fast. This zone hurts. And, well, the blue zone, as we all know, is trying to qualify as well. The amount of eliminations they've had today.
And Payne was trying to track and get those shots and wasn't able to connect with enough of them, as Lev is able to get, again, another shotgun kill. That is a must-have, as Walker gets a shotgun elimination onto Luigi. The trade, the third party, back and forth. And, well, we said it. The zone is here to qualify, and it got another victim. Just 6 players remaining. Payne here with 2 elims does have that pesky zone right to their left, as Austin is in front of them. And it is very likely here, as this final circle starts to converge in. If you're Payne, if you're Austin, you have to be extremely careful, because players like Hercules and Deadshot are going to have that cover at the bottom half here of mid-steam. But a lot of these players could get caught right out in the open in this forest train.
Yeah, you've got this circle that's just on the edge of mid-steam and then just on the edge of this open space. And if another circle closes, if we get down to that 7th circle, it will most likely pull out of at least most of the cover, if not all of the covers. The question is, who's going to be able to execute at the highest level? I really like either Hercules' position or Deadshot's position. Look, we talked about Quan beforehand. We talked about how just really honestly how talented Deadshot can be in these events. They've been in these events before, and they've proved that they're a force to be reckoned with. We certainly would like to qualify for tomorrow. Lively is going to try to make sure that Austin can't pick up their potential 5th elimination. Playzone gets another elimination. Potentially somebody trying to heal off. Regardless, Hercules is not going to let their opponents heal, because FG Payne goes down to the final 4. Lively, Austin in an encounter. Austin goes prone, but it's not enough. Lively gets the better of them. DP, I call this the dinner plate shooter, Katie, because it hits hard. Deadshot in a position to potentially find Hercules and have a chance to heal and then refight Lively. Lively is isolated enough that these 2 players could 1v1 and then force another 1v1 without an advantage, but we'll see who moves first.
I know, I think Lively was sitting at about a 4 eliminations, 2 here for Deadshot. Not sure what Hercules is at, but Lively, a great angle to just punish these players when they choose to collapse. Uses the walls, some hops to get some height, see if these players are gonna move toward each other, but everyone just waiting for everyone else to make the first move. Right. The final 3 not willing to give it up, not willing to make any mistakes that expose them more than necessary, but that zone, well, it doesn't care. It will force you all to come toward each other at one point or another. Wow. And Nade comes out, and look at that frag from Lively through the window. Incredible placement for the 5th elimination. Now a 1v1, and knows right where Hercules is. Throws it out, is prepared with the shotgun, gets the connection, and it's Lively from start to finish, with 6 eliminations to win the final map. Methodical placement, and what a beautiful nade to open it up into a 1v1.
Yeah, Lively knew exactly where their opponents were at. They knew the zone was at their back as well. So if you cooked your grenade correctly and the zone starts creeping forward, you drop it at their feet and say, bye-bye, I'm grabbing the elimination. And all it takes is 1 shotgun shell to the face. 2nd elimination and the win. Lively, congratulations. Hot Jukes, what'd you think? Lively put on a show at the end.
Bye-bye, adios, see you later, dude. Lively was popping. off there towards the end, especially when he was kind of like right at the edge of that zone. I saw your reaction, like you wanted to scream, because he straight up turned on that kid with that shotty, man. The M10 is just so broken. Of course, I love to see my boy Quan dead shot as well over there towards the late game. I've played with him before. I've seen him on stream, you know, so good to see some OGs in the community, you know, get some love and, you know, pop off here in this community tournament. I love it, Katie. What about you?
It was so great to watch, especially those really back-to-back plays that occurred toward the end of these storms, where you can tell these players, they're not worried about it. They know the positioning, that they know the storm, the angles that they have to be aware of, and the direction these final players will come from. And Lovely, that was just mwah, chef's kiss. It was perfection. It was great to watch.
On the money, and to finish it with a jumping shotgun shot. I mean, he had that nade cocked back, and he just mistimed it, and it popped off his. Still did the animation jump over the wall, jump shot. I mean, that's how you get it finished. I think they couldn't have ended any better here. And you know, obviously, you will see him tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the big day, right? Because those duos. That's where we're going to see some players either get it done or it's all over. That's what it comes down to here. What do you guys think of what is going to happen tomorrow, right? Are you any particular duos you want to see, Katie?
Ooh, you know what? Imagine if you got a toxic Lovely duo going into day 3. I'm not saying that might be broken, but I am saying I want to see it.
It could happen. It 100% can happen. Absolutely, without any doubt. You can see here, this is what the dates are going to be. Make sure you mark your calendars. Tomorrow's duo is going to be duos, and then May 23rd is the finals. We'll see some squad action here. But man, that duo, that's going to be a whole different story. Strategies are going to change everything. I wonder when those are going to be announced, because if I find out who my partner is, like sometime tonight, I am instantly putting in some work with them, coming up with some strategies, you know, and just gonna try to make something happen here, Coach.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think you and I had talked a little bit about the Hot Jukes Goj duo going into the maps. I think Katie's going to hang out here by herself for a while and do this whole thing so that we can have a chance to qualify as well. No,
I got it. You guys go do your thing.
I think chemistry is going to be amazing. Like, if there is a duo out there that has a bit of chemistry from beforehand, like maybe we see a couple of our YOS, you know, friends come together and play together, random or otherwise, and they have an opportunity to play together, like that chemistry will come out, and that will be a way for them to move forward, because chemistry is so crucial. And if you do have a chance to play a few reps, maybe it's Bob and Brad coming together, right? And they both move forward and they both play together and they get some chemistry moments behind the scenes. Got an opportunity to qualify for the finals and a chance at $50,000. Are you kidding me?
Big money. Yeah, we're playing, but Katie's in the back, you know, keeping an eye on the map feed, giving us calls in our ear.
I'm in the backpack. You know? I'm hanging out.
That's right.
I bring the vibes.
That's right. Agent Katie. That's how you get it right there. I love to see. But you know what? I am hearing that the scores are coming. Now, I guess I must remind everybody watching, these scores are not official, right, until they are posted. But here we go. Group A. Oh, look at that. Yeah, we saw that earlier. Yeah, 2 points was able to move on over here, Katie.
Wow, and look at that. Just 2 points shy legal of hitting that 60-point mark, which is incredibly impressive. Some of the players that we followed for a while, likes of Anime, Elise, all in that qualification for Group A, but they played so well. Arthur there, of course, J-Star, a very solid group in Group A.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Moving on over to Group B. It looks like it's going to be the Simp. Moving on over, sneaking into that 26th place here. I am Nub, finishing up first, Coach. What do you think about Simp?
I mean, it's a close one, right? Like, we said it was elimination per map, and it wasn't even that. And we had taken a look at the Group B scores a while back, and we had seen, of course, Thirst, Ghost, Zombie, Jamaica, even at the end, like, all slaying out. But it's these players down at the bottom, we've been saying it, just barely sneaking their way through. But who knows? They could pop off in duos. It could be solos that they're maybe not too comfortable with. But as we swap to Group C, Hot Jukes, a look down here, 15, it was a kill a map, and it looks like the tiebreaker went to Slaya, who was on screen at the very end.
Let's go, Slaya.
Slayed out of his mind. I mean, 1 placement point. That was it. I can't believe that's what it came down to. I mean, You know, a big shout out to all the players that played in this one that didn't make it. Moving on to Group D, 10 points. Wow. Ryoku there finished it with the highest placement, Katie. Can you imagine?
I mean, I can't. I'm not nearly as talented as that, but I will live vicariously through them and through all the other players have managed to qualify Group D. There we go. We see the Wilds Austin there at 6th. A lot of the players that we were able to see their perspectives, and Glizzy as well. A lot of those Wilds players made it into this top 26.
100%. Oh my goodness. Big shout out to all the players that finished up here. They did a great, amazing job. It takes a lot, you know, to be able to make this happen. And for everybody watching that didn't, right, that didn't participate in here, what were y'all doing, you know? What were y'all doing? Make sure that you're following everybody and so you can get into the next one if we have one. But I'll tell you what, this was a great experience. Coach, any final thoughts?
Yeah, look, I've been incredibly impressed with the skill of some of our community members. I mean, are you sure some of you aren't pros? Like, put some YouTube content up, turn this into a highlight reel, maybe grab some of our casting, get up there, make some PUBG Mobile content, especially here on Livik, because the official Livik map goes hard and it was a lot of fun. And look, if you are down at the bottom of the leaderboard or close to being relegated, stay tuned for the official posting of the scores, okay? The scores that we show are what we have right now. They're going to officially announce them in the Discord and otherwise, so stay tuned for that. If you think you lost the tiebreaker, it might not be over for you.
It might not. It really might not. It's anybody's game here, anybody's guess of who's going to be able to finish off. Katie, right? How about them shotguns, huh? How about them shotguns?
They're scary, and I imagine everyone will have them for day 3. And you know what? I'm just excited to see the highlight package for tomorrow, because if that chimney play is not in there, I'm going to be very sad.
Oh, man. Yeah, that chimney play has to be in there. That was just so sick here. Guys, I mean, what more could you ask for, right? What more could you ask for? Community tournament, 50 grand. Where else do you see this? Nowhere else but PUBG Mobile. That's how you get it done there. Guys, thank you so much here for everything. Y'all guys absolutely crushed it here on the desk. But man, you know what? Tomorrow is where it's gonna end up. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Hot Jukes. Make sure you go follow, Ghost. We'll follow Katie as well. And we will see you guys mañana. Mark your calendars. We'll see you then.